All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. You've got 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday, including today. It's the Bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour from now until 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Jon and Jim with you. Padres and Angels coming up at 6:40 from down at Petco Park. Padres back from that 9-game roadie. They went 6-3. We're going to hear from, this is from MLB Network Radio, right? An update on Jackson Merrill. Is that correct, Jim Russell? I have not heard this audio.
It's not an update, John.
Not an update on Jackson Merrill for Mike Schild. What is it? I haven't. I don't know what it is.
You didn't look at it?
I have not looked at it. So just tell us what it is.
It's Jackson Merrill talking about this lineup and talking about the length of the lineup and how he believes it's a very good lineup.
All right, let's hear it.
Quite a bit. It is, the strength of the lineups, the length of the lineup. And when you get, Jackson back in it, Crony back in it, with the guys that we've had that have been in there for a while, it allows everybody to be better. And, specific to Jackson, yes, Billy, the approach, I mean, it's really, really good. I mean, you saw him drop some balls to the left field in that series. He takes what the game gives him. He's got a real good feeling for knowing what he's going to see. And as we talk about, Toddy has said really well, he does what the game calls for. He's a really high baseball IQ guy. And then he's got the physical ability to, in big moments, to be able to execute it. That's one of the last things, at least for me. Curious what you guys think for, hitters that become really, really good big league hitters is, the preparation's there, the swing's there, but then in real live situations in high stimulated moments, being able to do it against high level competition and being able to have your ability match your approach. And he's been able to do that.
That was Jackson Merrill.
It sounds a lot like Mike Schild.
That's amazing. Listen, Merrill, it goes without saying. You can hear from Schild, you can hear from us, you can hear from Jackson, you could hear it from whomever. This dude has a chance to be special. He's just got to stay on the field. And when he's been on the field this year, he's been terrific. Hopefully he's overcome this hamstring. Hopefully it's just an IV one-day thing. I mean, he was in there every day last year. I mean, he was truly in there every single day last year. That was the expectation this year. All right. Dealt with a hamstring. Then 2 days later or a few days later, he deals with this stomach bug IV situation. Hopefully he's back in there here tonight because if he's not their best player, Jim, he may very soon be their best player. It's at least a possibility.
It's, I think, more than a possibility. I think it's going to happen. I think Jackson Merrill has all the tools to become not only just their best player, but the face of the franchise. I think everything that you want in a baseball player, like, he gives you that. His attitude, his play on the field, like what he says publicly, what he says to the media, everything he does is like baseball, 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 baseball. And a lot of these times, these baseball players aren't all about baseball, baseball, baseball. Right. Like, they have other things that they do. That's not Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill eats, breathes, sleeps baseball 24/7, and you can just tell whenever you hear him speak, all he wants to do is just go to the baseball park and just put on some cleats and go out there and play ball.
He had another amazing quote after Saturday's game where he had another huge game, and he said, well, this is the 21-0 game where they just pile on, and it was 15-0 in the fifth, and they scored in like 7 of the 9 innings. He said, we don't want to get complacent at any point during the game. Honestly, treat the game like it's tied. I know it sounds like summer ball or daddy ball to say, but don't get complacent ever. Go up there and grind that beep out. Jackson Merrill, that's the guy I want front and center for my team. So it doesn't mean you're going to win every game. Doesn't mean they're destined to win the World Series with Jackson Merrill here. But that temperament, that attitude, coupled with Manny, who just plays every single day, and hopefully like this new version of Fernando Tatis Jr., now like in the middle of his prime or the beginning of his prime, where he feels like he's not the same player he was coming up when he was just young and youthful. Again, it gives you a lot of reasons for optimism, is how I feel about this team. I know it's May. I know that they've only played 39 games, but I don't know. I don't really want to downplay what their possibilities are this year. I can't guarantee what they are, but there's something about this team that I truly do believe in. I think even more than last year. Last year, the second half run, I hope we see for 162 this year. I really think that's a possibility for the entirety of the season. They got to do it. They've done it for 1/4 of the season. I just feel like they might be able to do it for 162 this year after doing it for half a season last year. That's how I feel.
That'd be kind of incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be, I guess, based on how they finished last year. I'm not saying I expect them to win 115 games, but could they win 93 plus after winning 93 last year, as in building off last year? Could they win more games than last year in 2025?
Are they healthy?
Right now, kind of. Can they stay healthy?
This is the healthiest they've been. If, stupid bug that Jackson Merrill has, but this is the healthiest they've been since opening day.
Yep.
And Darvish is going to pitch this week. We'll talk to Kevin later in the show about that. And if and when he returns the next couple of weeks, and you don't have any more injury bugs, and Dylan Cease continues to make his starts, and he's not, cramping up and whatever, then yeah, this will be the healthiest they have been all year long. And it's easier said than done to maintain that health, but if you can stay relatively healthy and make sure the big boys are in the lineup all the time, then I don't see a reason why they couldn't play better than last year. You're right.
Yeah, that's just, again, we'll see if it happens. It's just like they haven't been healthy and they're 25-14. So what happens when they stay healthy and maybe get Darvish? Now, maybe the schedule gets tougher. They haven't played the Dodgers. They barely played the Giants. They haven't played the Diamondbacks. So the schedule probably will stiffen. So you're right. I don't know if they can play at this pace, but can they win more than 93 games? Can they vie for a division?
And they're 7-1 against the National League West this year.
Now, a lot of that's against the Rockies, obviously, at 5-1, but you're right. They have been good against the NL West. All right, what do you guys think? I mean, can this team be better than 2024? I think it's fair to say they could be better than 2024. 877-767-4760, or you can text us 70470. Start it with the word team. We'll turn our attention on the other side to news today related to NBA media rights and what that means for Michael Jordan coming back to the NBA in media. So we'll share that with you on the other side. Plus, we've got a giveaway for you. Kevin Acee will join us at 5. Jeff Fletcher on the Angels at 3:30. This is Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Primatine. We'll start with the Padres. They start a 3-game series with the Angels tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. Tonight is the NBA Draft Lottery. The Jazz, Wizards, and Hornets have the best odds for the number 1 pick. And NBA action tonight, Knicks Celtics game 4 tips off at 4:30, followed by the Warriors and Timberwolves tipping off at 7 p.m., both game 4 action. And the Eagles, they'll host the Cowboys in the 2025 NFL season opener Thursday, September 4th. During an asthma attack, every second feels like an eternity. Priminate Mist works fast. It's clinically shown to open airways quickly, providing quick relief of mild symptoms and intermediate asthma. Get the number 1 FDA-approved over-the-counter asthma inhaler, Priminate Mist. Breathe easy again.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. Jeff Fletcher covers the Angels. No relation, I think, to Ben Fletcher, although I haven't asked. He will join us coming up at 3:30. This week in television is something called the Upfronts, where networks make big, explosive announcements to help with their ad sales. So we know that the NBA is returning to NBC for the first time since the 1990s. This upcoming year, and NBC had a bombshell announcement today in that Michael Jordan will be joining their NBC coverage of the NBA beginning next fall. Now, he will be a special contributor, whatever that means. So I don't know if he's going to be with them each and every week or each and every show, but he will be a special contributor. He's kind of stayed out of the public limelight from a media perspective. We know he's owned a team, obviously, in the NBA, but that's a pretty splashy announcement. Michael Jordan on NBC is a special contributor next fall.
That's just like a fancy way of saying we'll have Michael Jordan on, but not all the time.
Yeah, like once or like how often?
Like he's not a studio analyst, and nor would I don't think Michael Jordan would ever devote like 5 days a week or whatever the time would be for NBC games. Special contributor.
Yep.
Interesting. I think it's great though. I think having Michael Jordan on your broadcast as a contributor, like it could be amazing, but it also could be boring and nothing there to it.
That's the thing. When I think about Michael Jordan from like a speaking perspective, there's nothing that comes to mind. Like, at least since his playing days, he won all 6 of his titles, by the way, on NBC, because they had the rights for 12 years from 1990 to 2002. He won all 6 of his titles over that 12-year stretch. But like, is he overly compelling as like a speaker? Like, I can't think of anything. Hasn't his whole career been made outside of basketball just being generic? He's the one that said Republicans buy sneakers too, as if to say, I don't want to offend anyone. Democrats, Republicans, left, right, middle. I just want to appeal to all.
Oh, I want him to just let it rip.
Just unload.
Be like, I could beat your ass. Like, oh, I could take you, like, lace them up. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want Michael Jordan to be as ruthless on the mic as he was on the court.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Or else it's not going to work.
Right.
Like that's just how it is here. I mean, if you're an executive at NBC, you have to sit down with Michael Jordan and be like, all right, here's the layout. The way this works is not by you turning into like the PC guy that is just everybody's grade and, oh, you like this player. You need to be yourself. You need to be authentically yourself. More, I mean, probably lean towards the critical side, or lean towards just say whatever's on your mind. But we can't have you be this politically correct Michael Jordan on television, because it just won't work. The fans will see right through it.
What did you think? Because I don't even really remember this. You guys remember this stuff way more than I do. Like, how was he received during the Last Dance documentary in terms of what he said or how controversial he was? Was that overly fascinating with what he talked about in that documentary? Was that like compelling to listen to Michael Jordan talk about?
Yeah, I think it was, because there were times where they would give Michael Jordan the iPad.
Yeah,
and he would listen to people talk about him,
like laugh.
And one of them was Gary Payton.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, yeah, I would have locked Jordan up if I wasn't hurt, blah, blah, blah. And Jordan's like, giving the side eye. He starts laughing or whatever. He was pretty ruthless in that documentary. And I think that is the kind of MJ you want on television, is closer towards his documentary self than maybe the side where he's just like I said, PC. You gotta have some edge to you. You just do. That's what we've seen on television. Watch Charles Barkley work. He has an unlimited amount of edge to him, right? Why is Tom Brady still trying to find his way? Because Tom Brady is just very PC.
He's so PC, yeah.
Like, why didn't Drew Brees work? Well, one, he was awful, but he just was so PC. The guys that work the best are the ones with edge. And Michael definitely has it already built in him, but is he going to show that on television?
And then I also wonder, if he's a special contributor, will he even be given enough of a runway for that to work? As in, if he appeared once a month for 6 months, is that so compelling that you need to tune in?
What are they paying him, by the way?
It's got to be millions of dollars. I mean, from an advertising perspective, that's amazing. To include Michael Jordan in your coverage of the NBA, that's incredible. But unless, if Charles Barkley was only on Inside the NBA every 5th week, it wouldn't be the same show.
Yeah, it wouldn't hit the same it does now.
Yeah, is he going to be a regular on the desk? Is he going to interview stars? Is he going to be on sidelines? Will he call games as a color commentator?
I saw a funny thing today. It was I hope it's just MJ reading off all his parlays on TV.
Yeah, he could be their betting insider. I like that.
Could you imagine?
He could be NBC's betting insider. I like that.
Yeah, there's things that he goes on there and say, all right, tonight I got the Knicks minus 122. I'm going over on this one. It's at 197.5. I'm taking the over on that.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I wonder if, since he's a special contributor, instead of being at the round table, so to speak, with the rest of the guys, he'll kind of remember how they used to do the Peter King thing on Sunday Night Football, where he'd be off to the side and then it'd just be Peter and whoever was hosting Sunday Night Football pregame at the time. Maybe it'll just be Jordan off to the side with who's it, Tirico, whoever's doing the pregame show. And maybe that's what they mean by special correspondent, where he won't be with the guys. He'll just be part of the show.
Listen, it's a huge win. NBC, this is a shot in the arm. They get the NBA back. ESPN's already got the huge win. They have Inside the NBA coming to ESPN. Now, what's that going to mean for Stephen A. Smith and the rest of that crew? I have no idea. And I don't know what Amazon's going to look like with their coverage coming this upcoming season, but I feel like there's a lot of momentum right now for the NBA. I feel like the postseason's been widely consumed, and you bring the NBA back to NBC, you incorporate Michael Jordan in some form or fashion. It's a win. What's he going to sound like? What's he going to look like? I don't know, but it's certainly a win for NBC.
I think the part of the NBA and NBC that I really like so far is the nostalgia of it that they're bringing back. And it's just little things, but they matter so much, right? The theme music.
Yep.
The voice of the NBA and NBC, even though it's AI generated. You're bringing in Michael Jordan.
Right.
Which was,
the heyday.
The height, right? Yep. That's great. I like Tirico a lot.
Me too.
On the call. I know Reggie Miller's also being involved.
Yeah. Noah Eagle, the son of
Noah Eagle's really good. Yep. And I'm sure the graphics packages and all that stuff, it's going to look cool. I think it's also going to sound cool. And I think that already, just looking at what they're doing, it's an infinitely better production now than ESPN. ESPN has turned into just some god awful NBA content. We were talking about this weekend. There is one person on the entire NBA playoff crew that I enjoy and I like, and that's Mike Breen. Everybody else is awful.
Now it's changing though, because next year they have Inside the NBA.
But that's great, and I'm glad that's happening. But as of right now, I don't need Kendrick Perkins anymore. I'm done with him. I don't need Bob Myers. He doesn't bring
Neither do
anything. I don't need Malika Andrews. She doesn't bring anything to the table. I don't need Stephen A. Smith. Richard Jefferson is god awful on color. And Doris Burke, I'm sorry, it doesn't work with Mike Breen. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think ESPN could use an upgrade. I think they get it with inside the NBA, but I think NBA returning to NBC will probably be at the forefront of the networks. NBC, ESPN, Amazon.
Yeah.
NBC likely takes the lead that previously was taken by TNT Turner. It now probably moves over to NBC.
Do you think they bring in Bob Costa? Excuse me.
They probably should as a special contributor
Yeah.
in some form or fashion because he's also like the nostalgia from back in the 90s calling NBA finals.
Didn't Bob Costas call the 98 finals?
I think he did. He may have called all those.
Pretty
finals
sure
in the
he
1990s.
called the Jordan last shot.
Yeah, he may have.
He was also
he's kind of retired, right, by and large.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm with you as a special contributor.
Special contributor,
yeah, that makes sense.
What's Ahmad Rashad doing these days?
Good point.
Bring
Good
back.
point.
What's the show called? The NBA Today.
That was a great Inside Stuff.
Inside
NBA
Stuff.
That was a
Inside
great
Stuff,
show.
yeah.
That was a great show. All right, on the other side, is Jackson Merrill in the lineup for the Padres tonight or not? That's next, Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Make sure to download the all-new iHeartRadio app. Put San Diego Sports 760 as your number one preset. Put Jon and Jim in your presets. You can listen back to any hour or interview on the show. Plus, when you listen to San Diego Sports 760 on the app, you can listen live 2 to 6, Jon and Jim, right here on San Diego Sports 760. So, as we teased, is he back in the lineup or not? Jackson Merrill tonight for
Drum
the
roll.
Padres.
Probably a drum roll, but
Is he back in the lineup tonight?
Jackson Merrill's back in the lineup tonight.
All right, so I think as expected, dealing with the 24-hour bug and receiving IVs and fluid, Jackson Merrill returns for game one, and that makes the lineup look the way it should look. So what's the lineup look like here tonight for the Padres?
Tatis, Arise, Manny, Merrill, Bogarts, Sheets, Diaz, Cronenworth, Brandon Lockridge is in left tonight.
Is this against a lefty?
I'm going to say yes, since Cronenworth is sitting eighth tonight.
Exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing. They are facing the lefty. You say Kikuchi.
I say Kikuchi. You say Kikuchi.
He's been pretty good. He's 0-4 with a 3.8. So he's been effective. He doesn't have a win. That's probably more in the Angels than Kikuchi.
Right.
But you take an Angels pitcher, a starting pitcher with a 3.8 ERA. They should put that Angels pitcher in the Angels Hall of Fame. So it is a test against a good veteran left-handed pitcher tonight. And Kikuchi, now I'd say this about Michael King, who's starting tonight for the Padres. He's been really good, Jim. I think he's had 5 consecutive starts, allowing 2 runs or fewer. So when you talk about winning a series against the Angels, that starts tonight. Michael King back home, Merrill in the lineup. I don't know what the odds suggest, but the Padres have to be a heavy favorite tonight back at Petco Park. This is one of those games the Padres hopefully win after the disappointment of yesterday and get right back on track. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm not worried at all about yesterday's game kind of just like bleeding into the next 2 or 3 games here. Like, I don't think it's going to be a residual effect of, oh, we lost yesterday, now we're going to go on a 4-game losing streak.
Right.
I don't see that. I think yesterday was a one-off.
Me too.
I also think yesterday had a lot to do with, just letting your foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah, like you score 34 runs in 2 games against the worst team, and you start to believe you're playing the worst team.
Yes.
And I mean, they led 1-0 after the first inning. I said it last night on the wrap-up show. I didn't see any scenario where they weren't winning the game. I didn't even cross my mind that they were. When they had won 2 straight and scored in the first inning, I'm like, they're obviously winning this game. And then when they didn't, I was like, oh. So it was a little bit of like just like an awakening because you're playing such an awful team and you got beaten soundly. But I'm with you. I'm not expecting a carryover.
I'm not either. And I think the Nick Pivetta start yesterday, same thing. I don't expect to carry over. I just think that he's awful at Coors Field.
He's been terrible in his career at Coors Field.
He's not good at Coors Field. It makes what Stephen Kolek, by the way, Kolek? Oh, my God. We haven't mentioned his name.
What was it, a 2-hit shutout?
A 2-hit shutout at Coors Field and a 21-0 victory.
Like what?
Uh-huh. Did you see the stat of? Let me find it real quick. It was like something that hasn't been done since like 1889.
Yeah, like a shutout with a margin of 21 or more runs, maybe.
Here's the stat: the Padres are the first Major League Baseball team to score 20-plus runs and have their starter throw a 9-inning shutout since the Cincinnati Red Stockings did it so against the Baltimore Orioles on August 10th, 1889. Huh?
Yeah, so that doesn't happen every day. Like the Rockies weren't around in 1889. I mean, I know this, that when there's what do they do when there's when Yu Darvish comes back and you got Randy Vasquez and Stephen Kolek, what are you doing?
To me, it's Stephen Kolek. How could you say it's not?
I mean, he's earned it, but it's only been 2 starts, but it's not like Randy Vasquez has been ineffective.
He's not, but I also think Randy Vasquez is getting kind of lucky.
Maybe.
I mean, when you have a whip as high as he does, as many walks as he does, it's bound to catch up to you. Case in point, I mean, I don't think Wandy Peralta wasn't pitching that bad before his blow up this week. I mean, Wandy Peralta, did we all think that Wandy Peralta was going to pitch well this year and have a 1.35 ERA? No, we didn't. Wandy Peralta is closer to the pitcher that we saw this last week than the pitcher we saw at the beginning of the year. I think Randy Vasquez, you could say the same thing. I don't believe that he can keep doing this while walking as many batters as he has been and giving up as many hits. I mean, it's like it's fool's gold.
I agree with you. I mean, how could you take Kolek out of your rotation now it's only 2 starts, but he's 2-0 with a 0, and in 14 in the third innings has a .9 WHIP. So Kolek has certainly earned that opportunity. These are good things, by the way. If they have some depth with their rotation, and you've got someone like Randy Vasquez pitching in AAA, if you've got Kyle Hart pitching in AAA, that to me is a really encouraging sign. If that's where you are in June, which is where the Padres might be in just a couple of weeks when they get you, hopefully when they get you Darvish back.
Now, Randy Vasquez did have his best start, or one of his better starts this year, Friday.
Yep.
In Colorado, going 6, only walking 1, which was huge. Striking out 5 there, only giving up 2 earned runs in Colorado. 2 earned runs in 6 innings, like you take that every day.
Right.
But I do think, even though it's small sample size, what Stephen Kolek did and what he's been doing, just how he looks on the mound, he feels like he's a mainstay.
Would you go 6-man rotation when they play 13 consecutive days and 26 out of 27 days? Which is probably coming up when Darvish gets back.
I might consider it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I may. I don't want to see less of Michael King and even a Dylan Cease, the Cease we most recently saw. But then again, if Darvish is going to be limited in innings, and if you've got some aging pitchers in your rotation like you, Darvish, maybe that makes sense. So that's a consideration. Maybe somebody ends up in your bullpen, like a Randy Vasquez. I don't know, but that's at least a consideration to use a 6-man rotation. Again, to me, it's a good problem to have. Yeah. Just like it's a good thing to get now Jay Cronenworth back in this lineup. Now, they weren't waiting on Cronenworth to like reach their end goals, I don't think, but he's had a nice little year when he's been healthy. Merrill, even with him out, they played good baseball, but you get him back, you're getting back like the most productive hitter in Major League Baseball right now. So again, it's a long way of me saying I like this team. Could they improve in areas? Yes. I watched Hayward yesterday ground into a double play in a 6-1 game with the bases loaded. That could have changed the game if he comes through in that spot. Catchers have homered somehow a ton. We'll see if that lasts or not. So the team can be improved. Wandy Peralta can be upgraded. No doubt about it. By and large, for May, I like the team. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's hard for me to really be critical because I like the team.
Yeah, no team is perfect.
Right.
No team is perfect. There are always going to be the 24th, 25th, 26th man on a roster where you're like, why is this person on the roster?
Right.
And guess what? The Padres are no exception. They absolutely have that. Jason Hayward, Wandy Peralta, maybe, I don't know, who else?
I mean, Iglesias was hitless, I think, in 23 consecutive plate appearances until yesterday or Saturday. But yes, you're right. They have some areas that they could certainly upgrade in. I trust in Preller to do that over the course of the next 2+ months.
Yeah, that's what the next 2+ months are, is determining what you need to upgrade on your roster, how the team is performing, how aggressive you're going to be to upgrade those spots. Does the team deserve for you to go out and put all your resources behind getting players to help this team out? I think this team does deserve it. I think they will deserve it. I think they're going to be playing good baseball. And I think Preller is going to be like uber crazy hyperactive at the trade deadline.
Which kind of excites me, truthfully, because he's done that a lot previously. And it feels like San Diego becomes the center of the baseball universe when he's in like that. And I don't know how aggressive he's going to need to get, depending on how they're playing too. Because if they are playing well in July, and if they are 20 games over 500, very possible. I mean, they're 11 games over 500 right now. It's not inconceivable that they'd be something like 20 games over 500. Still a long way to get there. It'll be fascinating to see how aggressive he gets. Plus, what does his system look like? Like, what type of return can you yield when you don't want to get rid of players like, and they're not, Leo DeVries certainly, Ethan Salas maybe is another conversation, but like, what can your system produce in terms of a return is probably a conversation for another day.
Dude, Leo DeVries is, I think I saw the third rank, like he's like third in all of baseball.
So he's staying.
Oh, he's
forever.
Clearly untouchable.
Ethan Salas is maybe a discussion for another day, but I wonder when you get beyond Salas and DeVries and you look to make these like big impact upgrades, will they be able to do that with their system this year? I don't know enough about their system, truthfully, if they can do that or not.
Well, that's why we have David J. from
That's
Mad Friars
That's
on
right.
to tell us.
Yes. So he'll join us between now and July 31st.
Yeah, I think he'll join us a couple times. Yeah.
He will definitely do that. All right. Second hour of Jon and Jim. On the other side, we have seen Bob Nightingale has doubled down on dumb reports.
He's the king of dumb reports.
We'll share with you the latest dumb report from Bob Nightingale on the other side. Plus, Jeff Fletcher covers the Angels. He has for a long time. He'll join us at 3:30. And Kevin Acee on the show at 5 p.m. This is Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Padres and Angels start a 3-game series tonight at Petco Park, 6:40 first pitch. Michael King will be on the mound for the Padres. Tonight is the NBA draft lottery. The Jazz, Wizards, and Hornets have the best odds at landing Cooper Flagg and the number 1 overall pick. NBA action tonight. Couple game 4s, Knicks and Celtics. Game 4 for them tips off at 4:30 in New York. And then Warriors, Timberwolves, game 4 tips off at 7 p.m. in the Bay Area. And the Eagles, they're going to host the Cowboys in the 2025 NFL season opener on Thursday, September 4th in Philadelphia. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about essential warm weather styles, just $30 and under, like dresses, shoes, and bags, men's and even kids' likes. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at Macy's Backstage store near you.
The Padres took advantage of the thin air.
0 for 2. In the air to left. Hit pretty well. Beck going back, looking up, and that ball is gone. Jason Hayward, opposite field. 3-run home run for Hayward, and the Padres take a 12-0 lead.
Winning 2 of 3 versus the Rockies. And costing Bud Black his job. Tonight, they're back at Petco to face the Angels. Plus, SDFC gets it done out in St. Louis.
And now Anders is dancing with it inside the 18. Anders fires in goal. Anders Dreyer was dancing. He's a goal machine.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register. He's at Petco. He'll join us coming up at 3:30. He covers the Angels. He'll get us ready for Padres Angels tonight. Kevin Acee's on the show at 5. We'll have a giveaway for you in the 4 o'clock hour. We've got a pair of tickets to see Simple Minds with Soft Cell and Modern English, Saturday, May 24th. That's coming up at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Bob Nightingale, Jim, has struck again.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to say struck out again.
Well, yeah, that too. That's probably a better way to put it.
Yeah.
He's got a really interesting, quote-unquote, report. I think he writes like his weekly Sunday column. And he wrote that the Dodgers plan to, quote-unquote, jump in the mix for Kyle Tucker, if not for anything but to just drive the price up. He said the same thing was done a year ago regarding Juan Soto to keep the market honest. So the Dodgers reportedly did per Bob Nightingale. What does that even mean, truthfully?
Give me a break.
So you're not buying it?
Well, what I'm buying is that.
Are you buying the report, or are you buying that's what the Dodgers are doing? Or are you buying or not buying what Bob Nightingale is writing?
It's I mean, what's the date today? May 12th?
Yeah, how could you possibly know May 12th if they're going to be in on Kyle Tucker?
I mean, where does he get his information from?
How is that possible?
I mean, this makes no sense.
Also, it's the easiest thing in the world to say the Dodgers are going to be in on a prime free agent. You want to know why? They're in on most prime free agents if they want to be. They have the resources to do it.
My guess is he talked to an agent, and the agent was like, yeah, I watched.
Yeah.
They're going to go in on Kyle Tucker to drive the price up.
Right.
And Bob used that as like a factual report and then labeled it as the Dodgers are going to be on Kyle Tucker to drive his price up to keep the market honest. Dude, Bob, it's funny to watch Bob on Twitter because he is wrong like 95% of the time.
Yes.
And it's just a train wreck to watch his reporting. But this type of stuff on May 12th, dude, who cares? And why are you even reporting this?
Heyman like 10 days ago was like, he asked AJ Preller, it was like 15 days ago. He's like, so do you feel like you're going to hold on to King and Cease at this point? Like, what? They're like 20 and 10. And
like
Michael
so
King's like their
stupid.
best player. And Dylan Cease is coming off a top 5 Cy Young finish. What do you mean?
Like looking around
Now,
like, what?
I'm looking around like, are you kidding? Now, again, if they would have moved him in the offseason, that's a fair question in the offseason. Would you consider moving Michael King? Hey, you have a lack of payroll flexibility. Now that you're in the season in May, the most shocking thing in the history of the world, John Heyman's report is dumber than this and question.
For sure.
More shocking and idiotic would be, like, imagine if right now we saw on social media the Padres have traded Michael King. That would truly be the dumbest thing I've ever seen covering the Padres. If I saw in the next 20 minutes the Padres have traded Michael King, I don't even care who it's for.
I don't.
I really don't.
Nope.
I mean, I'm sure there's some merit somewhere. But if I saw that trade, I would rip that trade for weeks on end. I would not get over that for months on end.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah, John Heyman asked that to AJ Preller. other GMs would be like, honestly, I give AJ credit for not jumping down his throat. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he wrote then that the Yankees are going to be in on Michael King 6 months before free agency. It's how they get clicks, Jim.
That's exactly
what it is.
what this is. And I guarantee you, if we asked Bobby, show me your, click count.
Yeah.
For this particular piece, it'd be through the roof. Because it has to do with Dodgers. It has to do with free agency. It has to do with probably the biggest name on the free agent market upcoming this season, or one of.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking crazy money again. Like Kyle Tucker's the type of player that's going to get
400.
Yeah, that's pretty big money. Not Juan Soto, not Shohei Ohtani, but more than guys like Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, he's gonna be a very well compensated player coming up this offseason.
Yeah. So yeah, when we saw that was.
I just don't get why out of the blue stuff like this is being quote unquote reported. Like, I don't know, maybe like do something that's more productive of your time. I get it though. He's in the not the aggregate business. He's in the get as many clicks business. He needs the views. He needs the clicks, but not once have I ever thought of Bob Nightingale and like trusted reporting.
Do we do that? Tell me if we do. Because in the NBA, do we say November 25th, a month into a year, like just before the Christmas games? Do we be like, oh yeah, Ja wants to get to LA next offseason? Maybe a little bit. Do we do in the NFL? Like
we're doing that right now with Giannis. We'll talk about that.
But true, but they're in the offseason.
It's true.
True. Yes. I'm all for it in the offseason.
Yeah. Once the
and maybe
over,
in the NBA, there's a little more of it because the NBA is so star driven. It draws so many clicks. It's so interesting. Honestly, is Kyle Tucker a national story like Giannis? Absolutely not. Right? Like you can't compare Kyle Tucker to Giannis, but you put the Dodgers in there. That's letting a match do it. So I'm just saying, like. Yeah, it's one thing to have a Giannis conversation, and we will. It's not. I'll have the Kyle Tucker conversation in October, like once he's a free agent. But to have it in May seems really idiotic.
And in basketball, when Shams reports something, it's gospel. Like you take that, it's 100% every time.
Right.
So if Shams is coming out and saying something middle of the season,
like hey, Ja wants out. Okay, we'll take that. Yeah,
100%.
Yep.
If Jeff Passan is reporting this,
you're right,
it's pretty close to 100%. Bob Nightingale, I mean, bro, you got like a 60% hit rate here at best.
At best, dude.
At best. And by the way, you copy a lot of other people's reports and use them for yourself. I've seen it happen. So like this report, it's just, dude, if Jeff Passan's not reporting it, then take it for what it is and then just move on.
Agree with that. What did you make of this? Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760. The latest on Giannis coming up in about 10 minutes, and Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register at 3:30. So, I mean, this was truly unique that the Padres played one road trip and two managers that they played were both fired. I mean, that really is amazing.
Padres broke the Pirates and the Rockies.
They were broken either way. Now the Padres do deserve credit because they've beaten up on the Rockies and they did sweep the Pirates. So it's a part of the story. It's not the story. I'm not concerned about Derek Shelton with the Pirates. I really could care less. But Buddy Black managed here. He's a San Diego State grad. He spent 9 years in Colorado. He's a well-respected manager. I think most people would agree with that. What do you make of the Rockies' decision? And the reason I ask it that way as opposed to Pittsburgh, I could make the argument, Pittsburgh, you fire your manager that early, maybe something happens to get you at least quasi-relevant. It's not going to happen. Colorado, there's no argument, Jim. They're 7-32. Their 6-32 start was the worst start in the history of Major League Baseball. So does this do anything? And could this possibly have been broached by Buddy as opposed to by the Rockies?
I like that theory. That after Saturday night, he goes, look, just give me tomorrow and I'm gone.
I'm good.
Like, just let me go. Put me out of my misery.
It does him better to not have to go through this for the next 4.5 months.
100%. I don't know anybody that would want to deal with that.
Either do I.
And it's not like they're just coming off a World Series where the year after you can
justify it.
Yeah, like, hey, we just won a World Series. We got ravaged by injuries this year. But they didn't. and they're not even close.
And that has nothing to do with their manager.
No,
obviously.
they're an awful franchise. I think the sentiment here is good for Buddy.
Yep, I agree.
And he deserves better, way better.
I agree.
And thankfully, however this happened, it put him out of his misery there. And he can now come back to San Diego, go to his home up in North County, have some wine every night. I'm sure he last night, opened up a big bottle of red wine and celebrated not having to deal with that crap anymore.
I'd open a second bottle last night. I mean, that if there's ever a night you're going to go into the second bottle, it's probably last night.
That's a 2-bottle night for sure. And
you know what? And he's got 1,200 career wins. Like this, the thing is, a 67-year-old manager should not be asked to go through what he's been asked to do from a roster perspective for years on end.
What you do is you hire like an Andy Green.
Yes. Get us through something to get us at least back to some level of respectability, and then we'll jump back in when we think we can win.
Right. That's exactly what the Padres did.
Yeah.
Andy Green was like the sacrificial lamb.
Yep.
He took over the reins while the Padres sucked, and he was going to wear it.
Never like this.
No, not like this.
7-33,
No.
And the Padres have bad teams, and we saw them. You saw them firsthand. They never. And by the way, they didn't lose 100 games in those years, right?
No.
When's the last 100 loss Padres season? I'm going to look that up. That does not happen often. No. And the Rockies have had 2 straight.
A lot of 90 loss seasons, though.
No, I know. But you know what I mean? Like the hundreds, even like that's the extreme. That used to be the extreme. And now you have teams like the White Sox and the Rockies that lose 110 plus games, or the Astros before they were in the World Series.
They definitely go over the limit.
The Rockies or the Padres?
Oh, the Rockies.
Do you know the last time? Do you want to throw out a year? The last time the Padres lost 100 games? Because it has happened. I'm going to tell you how many times it happened. It's happened once since 74. 4 of their first 6 years, they lost 100 games. 4 of their first 6.
Okay, so it happens
once since 74. Can you name the year?
Was it in the 90s?
It was.
Was it 92?
You said it and then you didn't. 1993. 61 and 101.
That was close.
So that's their only 100. They haven't had a 100 loss season this century.
A lot of 90 loss seasons,
though. A lot of 90, you're right. But I mean, I just think the Rockies have taken it to the complete extreme here, obviously.
They make the 2024 White Sox look competent and decent.
The White Sox would beat them in like 6 games in a 7-game series.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
How bad the Rockies are.
Now, the White Sox also in the middle of the season last year were just ridiculously awful.
Yeah.
So that's maybe when the Rockies could catch up to them. But
true.
As of right now, what the Rockies need is they need an Andy Green. They need somebody that nobody's ever heard of, some, bench coach somewhere, younger guy that, gets 4 or 5 years, and hopefully they can build something there. And then as soon as they get a little better, and you find the new guy, right? But there's no way Buddy should be subject to managing that team. And good for him. Glad he's out. And clearly, as Dave Roberts said the other day, even Joe Torre, Casey Stengel, those guys couldn't manage that team and make them better.
Well,
that just tells you what all you need to know.
But if there is a guy that can make them better, it's probably Warren Schaefer, no relation, who has been hired as their manager.
Oh, that must be nice.
He played for Virginia Tech and never played in the major leagues. That Warren Schaefer, who's 30.
Was he on their staff?
He's not. He was their third base coach. He's 40.
See, there you go. There's your Andy Green.
There he is. He's 40 years of age. He will resurrect the Rockies. Yeah. This year. On the other side, Giannis wants to be traded. What are the best fits? Plus, Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register, on the Angels' struggles once again as they get ready for the Padres tonight. He'll join us at 3:30. This is Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register, covers the Angels. He'll join us at 3:30. Padres Angels coming up tonight. Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, will join us at 5. We do remind you that you've got 13 chances every day on San Diego Sports 760 to win $1,000. That's every weekday with the Bonus Bucks giveaway every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. What do you make of the Giannis news that he is open to exploring best fits outside of Milwaukee? A, what do you make of that? B, what are the best fits for one of still the best players in the world, right? They've lost in the first round 3 straight years, but this guy's an NBA champion. He's still young enough. He's clearly one of the top, you tell me, top 5?
Top 3, top 4.
Who would be on your top 4 today list? Seriously,
Jokic,
just
Nikola Jokic.
Luka,
if he loses a couple more pounds. I guess Shea,
okay.
Gilgeous-Alexander,
Anthony Edwards, top 5.
Anthony Edwards for sure,
and then Giannis in there.
Giannis, and then
The veteran.
You got LeBron, Steph.
Yep, I agree.
But I mean, Giannis is still an elite player. It's just hasn't. It's gone downhill in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gone downhill. And if I, was Giannis, you have to seriously look at this. Okay, can I win more championships here in Milwaukee, or do I need to go somewhere else to win? The thing that he has where I don't he's already won one.
Yep.
So there's not this overwhelming amount of pressure.
Right. I have to get one. I'm 30.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If he hadn't won one, then it's okay. Got to go find somewhere where you can win a championship. But since he's already won one, maybe he does say, you know what? I think I'm going to stick it out here because I have won a championship. But who knows? I do think that report being out there is interesting. And I think that if you were to ask me teams that would be the best fit for Giannis,
Mm-hmm.
the names have already, popped. It's the Rockets. It's the Knicks. It's, everyone's like, oh, the Lakers have nothing to give.
Right.
Same thing with the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors would love Giannis. They have coveted Giannis for years to pair with Steph, but that's just, they don't have nothing that they could give Milwaukee.
Right.
That makes sense. But I think Houston is a spot to watch out for.
So he's under control for the next 2 or 3 years. Is that correct? His current contract has him in Milwaukee through at least another couple.
How many more years is he under contract, Brent?
It's a year or 2, I think.
Okay.
But I guess my question would be, are we looking at an NBA altering trade?
Potentially.
Luka wasn't really an NBA. The trade was NBA altering, but the return wasn't altering for the Mavs. But now that this is way different than Luka. This is out there in plain sight where hey, let's get the bids from the other 29 teams. What type of return could we be looking at?
Oh, you're
for this 30-year-old.
You're going to get back, I think, what the Mavericks should have got back for Luka. You're going to get 2-3 players, probably an all-star or 2 thrown in there, draft picks, pick swaps, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the Rockets, after what you just went through against the Warriors, you saw you need an alpha. You need a guy that can take you over the top. And I'm offering up Jalen Green. I'm offering up Sengun. I'm offering up pick swaps left and right. You got a big decision you got to make on Fred VanVleet, which is an option for $44 million. Excuse me. Amen Thompson's a guy that really showed you in the postseason. He's a player. But if you really want to try to take that next step, you're the Rockets. You have the pieces. Go out and get it done. I don't know if this is Giannis kind of just maybe testing the waters, or if this is Giannis starting the actual breakup with the Milwaukee Bucks.
2 years, and he's got a player option for a third.
Okay, so you're gonna ask. You're gonna be getting a lot back for him.
Since 2018, no team in the NBA has won at a higher clip than the Bucks, 663. I didn't realize this. He's been with the Bucks for 12 years. I wouldn't have said that many. I would have said 10 or 9, but he's 30 years old. They've lost in the first round each of the last 3 years. You just wonder, sometimes it just runs out. 12 years is a long time. What else do you need to do? He was loyal to Milwaukee. He signed the extension. They won a title. You don't have to finish your career there. You don't have to be Kobe, right? You can go somewhere else. Your legacy's secure in Milwaukee. You won there. Nobody else is doing that.
Right.
Now, maybe to your point, you go to Houston or you go elsewhere, the New York Knicks, and you get a second ring with a second organization. That would be awfully impressive as well, I think.
Who do the Knicks have to give? I mean, the Knicks would have to give up like
all of their future picks,
Towns and all their future picks, and Mikal Bridges and whoever.
Right,
I mean,
right.
like, you know, everything.
Just pair with Brunson.
Yeah, and that's it. Like everybody's on the table except for Jay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the one thing that's making this more complicated is the whole Dame situation, because
He's hurt. He's out next year.
Well, exactly, which means they can't trade him. And I think they were going to try and shop him this offseason and trade him. So the Bucks, in a way, then they're kind of just stuck in a holding pattern for all of next year, because they don't have a lot of money, so they can't just go out and get anybody they want. And they're stuck without Dame for the whole year. They can't trade him. They can't do anything. So like next year, they're just kind of stuck. So if I'm being honest, do I really want to just waste a whole year of my career just on essentially a throwaway year where they're not going to do anything?
I'm kind of fascinated by this. Like Giannis potentially moving this offseason.
JD Gaucho has a great team in the chat that he put.
Okay.
And they still have a chance to win an NBA title this year.
They still have a chance to win an NBA title this year.
Correct.
Is it my wife's Indiana Pacers?
Nope.
Yeah, can you imagine him and Halliburton on the same team?
Yeah, fair. They still have a chance to win an NBA championship this year.
Yes.
There's 8 of those teams, right?
Correct.
And we've already mentioned the Knicks.
Yes.
And we've already said Warriors, no.
Yes.
And we already said Pacers, no.
Right.
It's not the Nuggets.
Nope.
Who are the remaining teams?
Well, they're playing the Nuggets.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
OKC.
They have 1 million picks.
Right.
They have the youngest team in the league.
They do.
They have so many players that they could trade. Imagine pairing Shea with Giannis. That's what you would do there.
Let me ask you this. If you're Oklahoma City, do you wait until you see the final result from this year's team? Does that matter at all? You could always add Giannis. He's a top 5 player. But you're saying if they win it all, go at him. If they don't win it all, go at him. Yeah, why not?
Yep.
That's a good point.
I think like if I'm just looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder roster, I mean, everybody but Shea.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody but Shea. I would be trading. Like, let me just pull this up here real quick. Yeah, so you could trade, who is it? Yeah, Jalen Williams. You trade Chet Holmgren. You trade all your pick swaps, first-round draft picks. If you want to trade Isaiah Hartenstein, go for it. Like, I think if you are the Bucks and they offered you Williams, Holmgren, Hartenstein, and like a couple first-round picks, you pair him with Shea. Ooh.
That is an interesting idea. That is. All right, let's get to Is That Good on the other side, because Jeff Fletcher, who's at Petco, wants to join us now at 3:45. So we're going to have Jeff Fletcher on the other side. He'll join us, though, coming up at 3:45. He covers the Angels for the Orange County Register. We'll get to Is That Good, the best and worst of the sports weekend on the other side. Don't go anywhere. This is Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by the San Diego International Airport. Padres Angels start a 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres tonight against the Angels. The NBA draft lottery is about 30 minutes from now. The Jazz, Wizards, and Hornets have the best odds at Cooper Flag and the number 1 pick. NBA playoff action tonight. Couple game 4s. Knicks, Celtics tips off at 4:30 in New York, and then Warriors and Timberwolves tip off at 7 p.m. And NFL news of the day, the Eagles, they're going to host the Cowboys in the 2025 season opener on Thursday, September 4th in Philadelphia. The first phase of the new Terminal 1 at San Diego International Airport opens this fall. In addition to a new airport experience, the roads around the airport are changing. Please pay attention to roadway signage and drive safely.
All right, Jeff Fletcher from Petco covers the Angels. He'll join us in 10 minutes. We've got the wrap coming up. We've got a giveaway for you in the 4 o'clock hour. Kevin Acee swings by at 5 p.m. We normally get to Is That Good on Mondays in about 10 minutes, but because we have Jeff Fletcher joining us in 10 minutes, let's get to it right now.
We had this player on our show last week, and I feel like because we had him on, that was good luck for Milan Iloski. Guess what? He scored a goal this Saturday in SDFC's 2-1 win. You're welcome.
Do we get the assist?
We get the assist on that one.
2 assists, me and you.
Milan scores his second goal of the season.
Is it back-to-back weeks?
It is back-to-back weeks with a goal for Milan. So, Brent, is that good?
Dude, you score a goal every match. You scored a lot of goals. That's a nice couple of weeks for Milan. How about the Padres? Maybe you missed this. They shut out the Rockies on Saturday, 21-0. It's their largest margin of victory ever in any game in their 57-year history. Is that good?
It is good!
That's pretty good.
They only scored like 2 runs after the 6th. It's kind of weak.
That is very weak.
Right?
Yeah. Scoring all those runs
It's like
early in the game.
19-0. I'm like, come on.
It only counts if you score those runs after the 5th inning.
They could have used a lot of those runs on Sunday.
They really could have just like transferred over. It's funny.
10 of them.
Remember, I always, whenever Marty would talk about series, she'd be like, well, they outscored this team in that series.
Yeah, but how many games did you win?
Padres outscored the Rockies. What was it this series? 37-18.
Yeah, they doubled them up.
They doubled them
but
up.
They didn't sweep them.
They only won 2 games. They scored 37 runs in 3 games.
Yeah, I know.
That is wild. Manny Machado, he's hot. He's on an 11-game hitting streak right now. Is that good, Brent?
It is good!
Still have yet to see the home run numbers, but he did have a home run in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
He had one on the trip.
The one in Pittsburgh was big.
It was a huge home run because it tied the game.
Yeah, they were down 1-0 late. 6th or 7th
tied the game.
inning.
That was
the Toddy.
Yep, last Saturday.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, tied the game in the 7th. Toddy won the game for them in the 9th. So big home run, but he is nonetheless, he is on fire right now. And the home runs will come. The home runs will come.
I agree with you. All right, my second one, Bill Belichick's girlfriend.
Oh.
All right.
No, he missed it.
Jordan, what's her name? Jordan Hudson.
Yeah.
She finished in 3rd place in the Miss Maine pageant.
Oh, must be nice.
I didn't know she was participating, but she was in 3rd place in Miss Maine this weekend.
Who'd Bill pay off for that?
Is that good?
It is good!
I mean, how many people are, top 3 in a state? It's good.
That's good.
State's got what more than it's got a lot of people.
They got a lot of people.
Maine's not exactly California population, but
good for her. And finally, John, Stephen Kolek, going back to my stat earlier in the show, I have to say it one more time because it was that good.
Right.
But on Saturday night, listen to this. The Padres were the first team to score 20-plus runs and have their starter throw a 9-inning shutout since 1889. Brent, is that good?
That was that Red Stockings team you talked about. Remember that team?
Yeah, the Cincinnati Red Stockings. What was
Before
your
they
favorite
changed their-
moment from the Cincinnati Red Stockings year in 1889?
Probably that game when they shut out their opponent
You know
by
what?
20 runs.
You're probably right.
That was a big highlight of that
was a
1889 team.
huge game.
My final one is Chris Berman, ESPN's broadcasting staple. Yes, that guy.
I got it.
From, what was that called? Game Day? No, what was that show called?
Prime time,
whatever. He has signed a contract extension. Now, you may notice we haven't seen him on ESPN for like the last 10 years, but he still technically works at ESPN. He has signed an extension through 2029, which would make him the first ever 50-year broadcaster at ESPN. 50. Is that good?
It's a legacy deal.
It's a legacy deal.
Which I hope it's not. I mean, he'll be on for like Super Bowl and then like playoffs,
right?
And then like maybe the opening weekend, but he's not going to be doing like any shows or any appearances like week 7 of the NFL.
Yeah,
year.
like didn't he usused to do everything, and now it's like hard to find him, right? Now he used to do the draft.
Well, he's old, John.
Just keep him away from home run derby.
How old is he?
He's
at least 50.
Probably in his 70s. I'm going to go with.
He's got to be, dude. He's got to be. Okay, he was born at 55. He just turned 70 on May 10th.
Well, he's in his 70s.
Don't you feel like they've kind of like cast him to the side?
Yeah, but they're still giving him like money, so good for him.
I agree.
I would love to have that legacy deal where you do nothing and you get paid for it. That's awesome.
Dude, there was a time before the internet, basically, with the catchphrases where he was like the biggest name in sports media.
I know.
Right? He really was. The back.
Yep. Back.
All the nicknames.
Yeah. No one circles the wagons.
Yeah.
Like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. That was
and
good.
every year on primetime, he would always pick the Niners and Bills Super Bowl.
Every year. How about the tick, 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 tick at the end of like a half when the clock was running down and the team didn't have a timeout?
Raiders.
Yeah. Dude, he's good. His legacy is a good one. He's like the first true national, maybe like just like sports, icon. Not play-by-play.
Yeah.
But like everything that's surrounded play-by-play.
He is I want to say like when you think of highlights in the 90s and the 2000s, like you think of Chris Berman. You also think of Stuart Scott.
Yep,
but
that's a good one.
Chris Berman is when it comes to NFL, especially NFL in like the 80s and the 90s, Chris Berman, his like recapping
with
of
Tom
games.
Jackson.
Oh my gosh. And Tom Jackson was
I would tape those things.
Elite. It was like NBA on TNT.
It really was
like that crew.
No, like I would tape, like I would hit some button. I don't even know.
Oh.
Like I would hit 2 buttons. It would like
hit a button.
It would like record on like beta or VHS.
Beta.
I knew every time it was on because it was on at 6:00, and then they replayed it again after Sports Center because I would watch it twice. Well, because that was when the Bears were like awful. So the only way if I wanted to see Bears highlights was primetime. So I would just watch it over and over
before the internet.
And they had the great primetime music.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh god,
it was great. All right, Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register, will join us from Petco on the other side on the state of the LA Angels as they get ready for the Padres tonight at 6:40, game 1 of a 3-game series. This is Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Great to connect with Jeff Fletcher, who covers the Angels for the OC Register. Back with us right now on Jon and Jim. Jeff, we appreciate you taking time in front of game one of the series here in San Diego against the Padres. I guess the update that all people in San Diego are concerned with is Mike Trout's health. What is the latest there? He's been out since April 30th with the knee. What's his prognosis moving forward? And thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for having me. He's been doing some light hitting off a tee and flips and stuff like that. He hasn't really run yet. That's sort of the big test for him. He's going to have to he's kind of running on a anti-gravity thing, one of those Ultra Gs. He might start that, today or tomorrow, and that'll be sort of the first, indication to how close he is to coming back. But you don't have to worry about him playing in San Diego.
That's good news for
series,
Padres fans and the Padres for sure there. Jeff, how's Ron Washington been, as his time as a manager there? He's put in a situation, maybe a little difficult of a situation, but so far, how has he been as a manager?
It's been tough for him because, he expects a lot of his players and they haven't really performed that well. And a lot of them are young and still learning. But, I think he knew to some degree that that's what he was in for. And, he's all about teaching, and they certainly have a lot to learn.
All right, so Jeff Fletcher, OC Register, with us right now. I think at last check, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't have the worst record in the American League. They have the worst record, obviously, in the AL West. The White Sox have been worse. The Orioles, surprisingly, have been worse. But, what are fans clinging to right now with the Angels? Are there bright signs with this team, or what's on the other side of this right now with the Angels?
Well, they have a few young players that look like really core players for the long run. Zach Neto, the shortstop, Logan O'Hoppe, the catcher. Those are two guys that are going to be around for a while, and they're going to be like the two key players when the team's good again. They got some other young players that they thought would be in that category that have not kind of taken the next step so far. Like pitcher Jose Soriano, reliever Ben Joyce has been hurt, but he looks like he could be really good. And Nolan Schanuel, the first baseman, is another guy that, he was barely in the minor leagues, and he came up and played a full year last year, basically at age 22. So they feel like he could be a pretty good player too. But they're not really taking the big steps that they would like to see them take, right away.
Jeff, is it safe to say that we can call it right now, Anthony Rendon, worst contract in the history of baseball, or would you say there's another contract out there that's worse than what Anthony Rendon has had here?
Anthony Rendon did not even have the worst contract on players who were on the 2019 Washington Nationals.
Oh, yes, you're right. Steven Strasburg, right?
Exactly.
There you go.
I figured it's a San Diego reference for you guys. So I think people like to forget about that one because he re-signed with the team that he'd already been produced some value for. But still, if you look at what he did after signing that contract, he pitched like 40 innings for a 7-year contract. So Anthony Rendon is definitely on the short list, but I think it's going to be hard to be worse than that one.
So what's the plan like with him in the future? Is there any idea what they're going to do with him, or what's the plan with Anthony Rendon in the Angels uniform for his tenure?
I don't think they really have a plan. I think they want to see, he's not expected to play this year. They'll deal with next year. And, if he can play, he might play. And if he can't, then that'll be it for him, because that's the last year of his contract. So I don't think anybody's really talking about him or thinking about him or holding out hope for him. He's sort of a out of sight, out of mind guy right now.
Jeff Fletcher with us. He covers the Angels for the OC Register. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jeff, what do you make of the Padres' fast start this year in the NL West?
I've already thought the Padres were going to be good. They were certainly very good last year, and they've got a good team this year. I don't think that really should surprise anybody. So I think it's great. I'd like to see them, go to the World Series.
Jeff, are there any players that you would consider, trade candidates on the Angels that you could see being traded at the deadline this year?
Oh, yeah. They have a lot of guys that could be if they are performing. Kenley Jansen, I guess, would be number one, top of the list. Closers at the trade deadline always seem to be of interest to teams. Tyler Anderson has been their best starting pitcher so far. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He's not the kind of guy that a team looking for like an ace would want, but if just the team that needs to replace some innings, maybe for a guy that got hurt, he certainly could be of some help. Yohan Moncada is a guy who he's already missed about a month, but since he's come back in the last week, he's looked really good. And, if he stays healthy and continues to perform for the next 3 months, there certainly could be a chance that he's of use to somebody. Taylor Ward is another guy that is in a pretty slow start right now, but he's a guy that if he performs up to his normal level, certainly could be a trade candidate. And he's also under control for next year too. So if he's doing well, that could certainly make him interesting. Luis Rengifo is another guy who's a free agent at the end of this year, is really having a bad year right now, but should be better than he's been. And he can play a few different positions, switch hitter, has some speed. So definitely they have some choices, but so far some of those guys aren't really playing very well. So they need to be playing better.
Jeff, it probably goes without saying, but like, what is the concern level with Trout's overall health? I mean, you remember there was a time where he played every single game year in and year out, and now it's been years since he's even played like 100 games. I guess he had 2022, but you look at the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a lot of years where he's barely played, obviously, and he's dealt with all these injuries. How concerning is it? Can it be rectified moving forward? It seems unlikely as he ages throughout his career.
Well, they moved him to right field this year in an effort to keep him a little healthier. Yeah. I'm not sure that that's really makes a huge amount of difference, but they had to try something different, This injury that he's got currently, they don't think is that big a deal, but as you say, the history he's had recently, nobody will believe that until he's literally back in the lineup. Nobody's going to believe that he's, when he's coming back. So we'll see. It's obviously a concern. I mean, he's their best player. He's the guy that makes them a lot better team, and they need him to play. And he hasn't played a whole lot, very much. And until he does, it's just going to be really tough for the team to really.
Sorry, you cut out there at the end, but I'll follow up on that. I mean, you've covered this team for such a long time, 10 plus years. I mean, there's no scenario where he doesn't finish his career with the Angels, right?
I don't think so. The only thing I can think is a scenario where, like, at the very last year or something, if he is going to retire and he wants to go play for the Phillies in his last year, and they just send him over there, that's a possibility. But he's got too much money left on his deal, and he's been hurt too much that you can't make a real value trade for him. You'd basically be just giving him away and still having to pay a lot of his salary. So, and unless he plays a lot and a lot better, you're not going to really have teams interested in taking on his contract.
You mentioned all the players that potentially could be traded at the deadline this year. I mean, how many rebuilds can this organization go through? I mean, are they from a depth standpoint or organizational depth standpoint in their minor leagues? Like, how do they feel about how close they might be with the talent they have if they're considering trading off, a majority of the players that you mentioned earlier on?
Well, it's funny you mentioned how many rebuilds, because I think a lot of people would say that they haven't had any yet, which is the problem. That they haven't really ever taken that step of really just trading away players and starting from scratch. I mean, last year they could have traded a few more players than the ones they did, but they didn't get the offers they liked, and they said, well, we're going to keep them because we're going to try again next year. So that's not really a rebuild. A rebuild is when you just say, we're going to burn it to the ground, and we're going to have a few years where we're not really going to compete, which is something that as long as Mike Trout has been on the roster, they have never done. So that's really why it has taken so long, because they've tried to do it a little bit at a time instead of just kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and, doing it the way, a lot of other teams would.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre when you look at the annual win-losses for the Angels, as you know, Jeff. I mean, their last time in the postseason, everyone knows, was 2014, but their last 500 team was 2015. But to your point, there's been no, the wheels never fully fell off. They haven't lost 100 games in any season. They lost 99 last year. But it's just kind of bizarre to see how these seasons have played out year in and year out in Anaheim. But we appreciate you hopping on, Jeff. Thanks for taking time for us in San Diego. Hope you're well, and we'll do it again at some point soon.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, great stuff. Jeff Fletcher from the OC Register. Yeah, they haven't had a winning record since 2015. 2015.
That was Trout's second year in the bigs or something, right?
That's a good question.
Because they've only been in the postseason with him one time.
That was 2014.
Okay, so it's 2014.
And he broke in 2011.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And in 2012, which may have been his rookie year, he had a 10.5 WAR.
Jeez.
And you just look at the first half of his career. We all know it. This guy was unbelievable. He's a Hall of Famer, obviously. He's a first ballot guy, but there's a little bit of Pujols in here where you got a 10-year run that looks awesome, and he's going to have a 10-year run in the second half that's going to look very pedestrian.
Do you think that Mike Trout at all thinks about, man, I should have left a long time ago?
Yeah, I do. I do think that. I think some of me says I respect what he's going to do here. He's going to be considered one of the generational greats in one spot. But the other side of it says, how can you have a player of this caliber play 3 career playoff games? That's where he's trending. It's not like the Angels are going to be in the postseason the next 2 years.
But he's also a guy that doesn't want the spotlight.
None of it.
He doesn't want to be he never wanted to be the face of baseball.
Never.
He just always was like at an arm distance length away from any type of publicity, even though he played in LA. Now, Anaheim, but you get my point. Like he's in LA County, and his career will go down as I would say, I mean, it's pretty harsh to say it, the most empty stats career ever.
I agree with you.
His career will be one of, like, if you were to say, all right, sum up Mike Trout's career, empty stats. Now he's a Hall of Famer. You got to put up those numbers, but none of his stats and none of his numbers mattered.
Dude, and we'd have to look at it. We could do a deeper dive. The wheels have just fallen off. He doesn't play, and even when he does, the numbers have just dropped. You look at this year, I get it. It's small enough of a sample size, but over 100 at bats, he's hitting 179. Mike Trout.
Well, that is what happens when you are just constantly injured.
Exactly. And he will not appear in the series. He's not yet running. He will be back at some point sooner rather than later, but he will not appear in this series. All right, we'll get to the wrap on the other side. Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. An update on Yu Darvish and Jackson Merrill. Plus, we'll give away in the 4 o'clock hour a pair of tickets to see Simple Minds with Soft Sell and Modern English. This is Saturday, May 24th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Hour 3 of Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. Next.
All right. This update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Padres Angels. First pitch, 6:40 tonight at Petco Park. Michael King on the mound tonight for the Padres. The NBA draft lottery is moments away. We're about 15 minutes away from the reveal. The Jazz, Wizards, and Hornets have the best odds at the number 1 overall pick. NBA playoff action happening tonight. Celtics and Knicks game 4 tips off at 4:30 in New York. And then Warriors Timberwolves game 4 tips off at 7 p.m. in the Bay Area. And NFL news of the day, the Eagles, they're going to host the Cowboys for the 2025 NFL season opener on Thursday, September 4th in Philadelphia. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about essential warm weather styles, just $30 and under, like dresses, shoes, and bags, men's, and even kids' looks. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at Macy's Backstage store near you.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim. Kevin Acee in exactly 1 hour on the show. Updates on Jackson Merrill back in the lineup. Yu Darvish beginning a rehab assignment Wednesday. Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We also have a ticket giveaway for you this hour. Simple Minds with Soft Sell and Modern English. This is Saturday, May 24th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. We will get into this draft lottery, Jim, once we know the results of it. We should have that in the next 15 or 20 minutes. They've changed the odds in the last handful of years. It's not as much of a shoo-in for the worst records in the sport to land the top pick, although it could happen. And we'll know where Cooper Flagg may end up in the next 30 minutes because Cooper Flagg is going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, it's only a 14% chance now for the top 3 or the 3 worst teams in basketball, not a 25% chance for the worst team, and then whatever it was before. I don't remember, but I do. It was 25%.
In an effort to limit tanking. I mean, there's been some awful teams in the NBA even since they've done this, but you're right. There's no assurance now, the Washington Wizards, where if it would have been 1990, maybe they had a much better chance of landing the top pick, or the Utah Jazz.
Well, if it's 1990, they're cooking the books and they're having the Knicks get the number 1 overall pick.
Now I think there's probably, that's a good point, maybe more transparency to the process, but Cooper Flagg is on the line tonight for one team in the NBA.
Yeah, you cannot tell me that the year that Patrick Ewing comes out is the same year that the Knicks get the number 1 overall pick. That was not only a little fishy. What was the saying for that envelope? It was like
it's frozen.
The frozen envelope. Yeah,
frozen envelope.
The frozen envelope.
You think they're still freezing the envelopes?
No, John.
I used to like do they show it anymore? There used to be sports where they would show the hopper. They just show the ball come out.
No.
That's the best.
They do it like very behind closed doors and secretively and
they trust us.
Yeah. No cameras on it.
The Bulls got the top pick. Trust us.
Now they do have reporters in there to report and to watch. To say,
you know what they give those reporters?
Yeah, cash money.
I'm kidding. All right, we'll have the results of the lottery coming up at some point in the next 15 or so minutes. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. right now. Let's get to this.
Mexican food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who do you hope lands the top pick in tonight's NBA draft lottery?
Good question. If I'm just from a fan's perspective, I don't want Cooper Flagg going into the Western Conference. I'll say Chicago. Chicago needs a break. Give me the Chicago Bulls with Cooper Flagg.
I like that. I am going to go with, because I'm looking at the list right now, I don't think it's the sexiest, but I don't think it's the worst option.
The Bulls have a less than 2% chance, but
right.
Crazier
I'll give you a
things
team
have
with a better chance, but not a great chance. But they got a 6% chance of landing him. The 8th worst record in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs. If you were to pair Cooper Flagg with Victor Wembanyama, that would be pretty impressive. They have a 6% chance. They also have a 26% chance of landing a top 4 pick tonight, the San Antonio Spurs.
If you were the Spurs, hypothetical, and you got the number 1 overall pick, do you use it on Cooper Flagg, or do you use it to trade for Giannis?
Oh, Giannis for the number 1 overall pick is part of a package?
Yeah, because you got young play. Everybody's on the table except for Wemby.
So you get the veteran Giannis. You pair him with the youthful Wemby, and you just go. I love that.
I need
that.
Well,
if the Spurs end up at the number 1 pick, there's no loss there. Cooper Flagg is ready right now to help, but
he's not Giannis.
Yeah, he's not a top 3 player in the NBA.
And I think if you're the Bucks, you just want something that's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, that's fair. By the way, San Antonio also has the last lottery pick via Atlanta.
Yeah, because Atlanta's
they have a couple of picks where they could land that top pick tonight.
Because wasn't the number 1 pick for Wemby the Atlanta pick?
The number 1 pick for Wemby was? Maybe it was. I don't remember.
I think it was.
It? That's crazy.
I think it was. I think that was Atlanta's pick, and it went to the Spurs.
Nice job, Hawks.
Yeah, good job.
Next question.
It's all Jamie Gertz's fault. Who do you think wins the PGA Championship this week?
Scotty Scheffler is playing out of his mind. I will take Scotty Scheffler.
I will take Rory, who's like a 4-time winner at Quail Hollow. I'm making that up. Might be more than that. He's won 3 or 4 times there. He's played good golf, obviously, coming off. What did he just win? The Masters? That's a good event.
The Masters.
Just won the Masters.
He just won that
Quail
one
Hollow.
tournament.
He's won there a lot. How many times has Rory won at Quail Hollow? Go look it up.
I think it's more than 3. So
what's
more than 3, less than 5?
4 times. I was right.
There we go.
4 times, including in 2024. Rory is winning this weekend.
Real quick, did you see Xander Schauffele's Champions Dinner menu?
I did, from our buddy Darnay trip.
Listen to this. The appetizers: smoked goat cheese dates with pistachio and prosciutto.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious. Pickled watermelon with feta and jalapeno.
Very nice.
Clams casino shooters. And then steak and blue cheese crostinis. The main course, a Wagyu New York strip with blackened jump shrimp, blue cheese gremolata, frizzled onions, whipped sweet potatoes, and a bourbon bone marrow reduction. Dude, what? And then for dessert, banana split, salted vanilla gelato, whipped cream, a bruleed banana, crushed peanuts, rum sauce, chocolate dipped wafers, or a strawberry shortcake with a sweet biscuit, vanilla bean whipped cream, Chambord syrup, and fresh strawberries.
Is there a veggie edition?
No, there's not, John. You're SOL.
What in the blue hell is bourbon bone marrow?
That's bone marrow, probably with like a bourbon sauce. I don't know. You know what bone marrow is?
Yeah, people like donate it when
marrow.
they have diseases and stuff. I didn't know they
I
eat
I
it.
don't want that either.
Yeah,
Next question.
bone marrow is a very luxurious, very fatty type of food.
Next question.
What's a better week 1 game, Eagles Cowboys or Chiefs Chargers?
Come on.
Chiefs Chargers?
Eagles Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean it's just a bigger prestige game. I mean, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It's the NFC East. Eagles Cowboys, America's team against the Super Bowl champs. I mean, Chiefs Chargers Brazil. And if you're the Chargers, how do you lose your home game against the Chiefs? Like, it's the only game
They
that
always lose their home games against the Chiefs.
No, I mean they lost the game. It's not going to be in Los Angeles.
Oh,
So like as marquee of a game as you may have, it's gonna
because
be
it's the
held
Chargers.
in Brazil. I do think that's an intriguing Friday game, opening weekend. But Eagles Cowboys, that thing is going to do like the NFL always breaks rating records. They're going to break rating records again when the Eagles play the Cowboys on a Thursday night to open the season.
A couple other games that have just come out via Adam Schefter. The day after Thanksgiving, so Black Friday, Bears versus the Eagles on Prime.
Okay.
And then Christmas night in Kansas City, Broncos and Chiefs.
Broncos Chiefs. All right.
On Prime, December 25th. Okay.
Tune in. It's coming up. I like it. Yeah, they slowly release the NFL schedule over the next 3 days. It's all officially released by Wednesday night.
They also have Fox will air a week 16 doubleheader on Saturday, December 20th, with the Eagles at the Commanders, followed by the Packers at the Bears.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay.
It's coming. Next question.
Yeah.
What letter grade would you give the Padres road trip?
I would give it a B+. It's
funny. I was going to actually say B, which is maybe a little harsh on 6 and 3.
I know, but hey,
it's Pirates and Rockies in there. I mean,
sorry,
if they would have gone 5 and 4, I would have said like C.
Yeah, it would have not been.
So I think B or B+ is fair. I think if they had one more win, I would have given them an A. If they were 7 and 2, it's an A, but they were 6 and 3, so that's a B.
Yeah, they stunk it up yesterday. They blew it in New York.
Like, those were very winnable games.
Oh,
the way their bullpen had been pitching, I figured those were formalities too. A lead.
Yeah.
Late.
So because of that, it's a B+. It's good, not great. That's the start of our show today. Good, not great.
I agree.
That's the title of our show. Good, not great.
I mean, listen, B's are getting lots of degrees.
B's
C's
get a lot of degrees. Yes.
I mean, you're getting a 3.0 plus with a B. All right. On the other side, we'll have the results of the NBA draft lottery for you. Plus, still ahead this hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Simple Minds with Soft Cell and Modern English May 24th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. And Kevin Acee will join us at 5 right here on Jon and Jim. This is San Diego Sports 760, streaming live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. The NBA draft lottery is well underway.
Oh, man.
And we've got some movement towards the top because we know that the Mavericks, Spurs, and Sixers will all be, Jim, in the top 4 once this is finalized momentarily.
So the Wizards, one of the worst franchises in the NBA, they had, the Jazz too. Oh, my goodness.
So both the Jazz and the Wizards were in line with the worst record in the NBA with that 14% chance. Neither of them will get a top 4 pick.
The top 4 now will be a combination of the Spurs, Sixers, the Mavericks, or the Hornets. And if the Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 pick overall here,
Nico's playing checkers or chess.
NBA just cooking that books. The frozen letter again. The frozen envelope.
Why would you do it for the Dallas Mavericks?
Because they got so much crap for the Luka trade.
So they feel like they owe him one?
I don't know,
Maybe.
but
I'll say this. Here's what's intriguing. Cooper Flag to the Charlotte Hornets. He just spent a year at Duke. Cooper Flag to the Sixers. That would be big market. The Dallas thing is just overly intriguing because of Dallas. And then the San Antonio Spurs, who've got one of the best players in the world in Victor Wembanyama. They could pair him with Cooper Flag potentially. Those are the 4 teams that have a shot here at number 1.
It's just wild that like the Jazz and the Wizards, 2 awful teams this year,
aren't in the top 4.
No. And this ain't like a deep draft.
You can't take and you can't tank. Okay, look at it this way. 14% chance, Jim.
I
Of
know.
the number 1 pick means 86% chance you don't have it.
And they got the 5th and 6th overall pick.
Yeah, these teams have leapfrogged into the top 4 tonight.
Dude, if I'm Cooper Flag right now, I just have this sense of like relief washing over me that I won't be a Wizard and I don't have to go to Utah.
If you're Cooper Flag, where would you want to go among those 4? Philly,
Charlotte.
San Antonio, Charlotte, Dallas.
If I want to go to a big market, it's Philadelphia. If I want to go to a team that can win right now, probably Dallas. If I want to go to a place where we could be dominant, it's San Antonio.
And if I want to go somewhere to be irrelevant, Charlotte.
Go to Charlotte.
I mean, Charlotte has not been relevant basically ever.
And they got who's the kid from Alabama?
Yeah.
Brandon
Miller.
Brandon Miller. Lonzo is a hot mess. I think they'd have to trade Lonzo. But yeah, I don't know if I'd want to go to the Hornets.
Right.
I don't know if I want to go to the Hornets.
What did Brandon Miller's stats? Okay, he averaged 21 points a game last year. 21, 5, and 4.
I'm calling it. I'm calling it. The Dallas Mavericks are going to get the number 1 overall pick.
You have called that. Well, you're calling it right now.
Because, of course, right? The drama, everything.
There's been a lot of drama. There has been a lot of drama. I agree with that. What would that mean after the trade? If Luka's out in the first round and they land the number 1 pick?
To pair with. Now, it does suck because Kyrie's out.
Right.
But you get Cooper Flag.
You got AD.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So what happened? Okay, they took the timeout.
They took the break.
All right, so they took a break. So we'll learn the top 4. Who's like the second best player? Is there any who is the guaranteed second best player in this draft?
The guy from Maryland, I think.
Oh, yeah. Queen? I don't know if he's okay.
No, it's not him. It's
What about the guy from Rutgers?
Oh, yeah, Bailey.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Harper.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, Ron Harper Jr., Ace Bailey. Okay, so there's some picks in there. But I mean, Cooper Flag is far and away, right? The number 1 pick. Is that even up for discussion? Cooper Flag? He's the number 1 pick, right?
100%.
Okay.
Like it's the Cooper Flag sweepstakes right now.
Yeah. So if I'm looking for a card in a pack, I'm looking for Cooper Flag, right?
Yeah. Another L. Exactly. That's what another L for Danny Ainge. It's just woof.
All right. What do we got?
Projected top 5, Flag number 1, Dylan Harper, guard from Rutgers.
Yep.
2, Ace Bailey, forward from Rutgers. 3, VJ Edgecombe, guard from Baylor.
Yeah.
And then 5, they got Trey Johnson, guard from Texas.
How about Rutgers having 2 of the top 3 players in college basketball and they finished under 500?
Transfer portal.
How is that even possible? Now they were freshmen, but
It's weird they're showing the
old school
frozen envelope here when the Knicks got the number 1 pick and got Patrick Ewing.
Right. 85. Are they setting up your Dallas Mavericks conspiracy theory?
Yes, they cooked the books for Nico because they
Why would you ever do that for Nico Harrison?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. Although I think Nico Harrison would look pretty good if they end up with the number 1 pick. It's pure dumb luck.
the dumbest luck of all time.
But again, like from where he was 6 months ago, where it's like, oh my gosh, you traded away Luka, and then
that's the basketball gods.
yeah,
The Lakers go out in a hot flame
yeah, they
because Luka can't play defense and just
yeah.
Now they did get the Kyrie injury, so that's another thing the basketball god said. Yeah, no.
right, and AD too, right?
AD
His
got
first
injured.
game got hurt.
He's walking glass. He's like Mr. Glass from Split.
Can we listen into the Final Four here? Well, once it starts, we can listen in for the selection in the NBA draft lottery.
It's gonna be good.
We have Hornets, Sixers, Spurs, and Mavericks.
It's gonna be good
in some order of 4 through 1 here tonight.
They should have Nico on the stand.
I know, of course they wouldn't, dude. All right,
here we go.
Let's listen in here to.
I'm intrigued.
We got like the deputy commissioner announcing the top 4.
The 4th pick in the NBA draft goes to the Charlotte Hornets.
That was Charlotte.
Picking 3rd will be the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh my gosh.
So Dallas or San Antonio in-state battle here for the number 1 pick.
The 2nd pick will be made by the San Antonio Spurs. And that means that the number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
Where Nico was right. He's got the first. They just landed Cooper Flag. They just landed Cooper Flag. They have Kyrie Irving, who's out. They have Anthony Davis. The Dallas Mavericks just landed Cooper Flag.
Now here's the question.
Wow.
Now that we know that they're gonna have the number 1 pick,
they're pointing at Cooper Flag. Whoever that guy is on stage for the Mavericks literally just pointed at Cooper Flag. We got you, bro. Wow. And they had a 1.8% chance, and they landed the number 1 overall pick. It's the 4th
least likely
odd in the history of the draft lottery.
Right.
Since 1985.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Dude, the Dallas Mavericks have been the talk of the NBA for months on end.
Nico Harrison's just sitting in the back of his chair like, haha, we win.
All right. Dallas will have the number 1 overall pick. San Antonio picks 2nd. Man, San Antonio was so close to pairing Cooper Flag with Victor Wembanyama, or realizing your theory of trading him away for Giannis. All right, that was kind of intriguing. I love the lottery, man. Don't you? I feel we've done that like 7 straight years here. I love that.
That if you ever had a conspiracy theory in the NBA for the draft lottery, and you ever wanted to go down that path,
I just don't know if I would do it for the Mavericks. You know what I mean?
No. It's because of what happened this year.
What happened this year? They traded away Luka.
Yes. And
Nico's under fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also the Dallas market. Like, that's a huge market.
Massive. Top 5. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Let the conspiracy theories fly,
Let
man.
them start. Let them start. All right. We can react to that on the other side. Plus, coming up later this hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Simple Minds with Soft Cell and Modern English Saturday, May 24th. And Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by RCP Block and Brick. Breaking news in the NBA. The draft lottery was a very big surprise as the Dallas Mavericks had a 1.8% chance to get the top overall pick. They will have the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming NBA draft, which means Cooper Flagg is a Dallas Maverick. Padres and Angels, they start a 3-game series tonight at Petco Park, 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Pods. And we have 2 NBA playoff games tonight. Game 4s coming up right here momentarily in New York, Knicks and Celtics. And then later tonight, Warriors and T-Wolves at 7 p.m. And then Eagles, they're going to host the Cowboys in the 2025 NFL season opener on Thursday, September 4th. Building a retaining wall, RCP Block and Brick has the largest in-stock selection, including the homeowner-friendly Keystone Legacy block in 5 colors. Visit rcpblock.com today. RCP Block and Brick, your number 1 source for retaining wall blocks.
All right, Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, will join us at 5. You've got a chance to win some tickets coming up in about 10 minutes to see Simple Minds with Soft Sell and Modern English, Saturday, May 24th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. The first reply to the NBA tweet that says the final results from the 2025 NBA Draft Lottery presented by State Farm, and they have the 14 teams listed from Mavericks to Spurs. And the first reply is, so we're all going to pretend the NBA didn't tell the Mavs that if they traded Luka to get paired with Bron, they'd get Flagg in return. I'm so sure. And that is 500 likes in 1 minute. So the conspiracy theories will continue. They've been going on forever with the NBA, and they will continue to. It is interesting that a team with a 1.8% chance of landing the number 1 pick just landed the number 1 overall pick. A 1.8% chance.
This is a good tweet. Nico made that trade for the league, and the league paid him back.
Yeah, because get Luka to LA, and we'll scratch your back.
Yeah.
They didn't even offer Luka to the other teams.
No. That is why you put all this stuff together.
Which is truly bizarre.
There was no bidding war. There was no open bidding. There was no reports. There was no, hey, Luka's on the block here. This was all done in secrecy. This was all done just between the Lakers and the Mavericks. There were no counter offers made. There was one offer. And even then, the reports are that Rob Pelinka was like, wait, are you serious? He's like, yeah, that's all we want. And that was it. No picks, no pick swaps.
Yep.
No, they didn't even involve their rookie from Dalton Connect. It just asked for Anthony Davis.
Do you know the
So yeah, the rigging conspiracy here is in full effect. But at least the Mavericks fans that went through hell this year, being like, we are now going to be like the irrelevant franchise here soon.
They're so happy right now.
You got Cooper Flagg.
How about this? Nate Silver, he's like a controversial pollster.
Yeah.
But he did, what do you have? That 538 site that covered sports as well. He makes an interesting point. He says Luka for Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg is a pretty fair trade, to be honest. Would you agree with that? Luka for Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg, if that was the trade, would be a pretty reasonable trade. Cooper is, could be a top flight NBA talent from day one, and Anthony Davis, when healthy, is still Anthony Davis. I kind of agree with that assessment.
LeBron has tweeted.
Okay. NBA's rigged.
He just posted 10 laughing emojis. Because
so he's buying in.
Dude, come on, man.
Well, who should he be to post the laughing emojis when he's been at the center of all this?
Look,
I'm actually all the strings.
I'm actually happy for Dallas because I'm more happy for the fans, but
right.
Dude, you can't tell me. Come on, man.
Yes, you're the one that told me the media's in the room.
I know, but there's just
I would have gone down the path. The media's in the room.
So we're just gonna chalk this up to the ultimate coincidence.
Well, it's like when you buy a pack of cards and you pull a good card, or you buy a scratch off and sometimes you win $1,000.
It's not just that the Mavs only had a 1.8% chance they won. You have to factor in everything that happened this year.
But none of that really is relevant. I agree with you, but it's like if red comes up 10 straight times, that's not a factor in deciding if red or black comes up next. It's been a crazy year for Maverick fans, but I don't know how that plays into it.
I get it
mathematically.
But if I just to say, all right, Mavericks trade Luka in the dead of night to the Los Angeles Lakers,
right?
Where LeBron is like set to retire in a couple years. The NBA needs Los Angeles.
Right. So
they need the Lakers.
They pump that into the market.
Here's Luka.
Right.
And then not in return, but just like on the flip side,
yeah, you're going to get the number 1 pick.
You got the number 1 pick. Now, a lot of things
were in the play-in tournament.
A lot of things had to have happened for that to happen. And I don't think there was like that was said, but it's all lines up to where that looks very weird.
Yeah, but isn't the last person that should be laughing LeBron James?
I know.
The whole league has been fixed to benefit him for the last 20 years. I mean, he paired up with a super team in Miami. He's had all these superstars run through LA in his 5 years there, including Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic. So, I mean, maybe he's just laughing because it is funny. It is funny. I agree with that. It is somewhat comical, and it leads to a massive offseason underway for the NBA. With Cooper Flag going to Dallas, with Giannis on the move, with your media rights holders all changing, it has led to a massive start to the offseason for the NBA. Right? As like, imagine if he landed with the Jazz. Imagine the Jazz just landed the first pick, like crickets thing. Yeah. Oh, Jazz.
Or the Wizards.
No one cares.
No, there's nothing. I mean, the NBA drama is elite.
It really is. It's kind of like WWE. Like, there's always something going on to keep your attention.
Yeah, if the Jazz got the number 1 pick, or the Wizards, or the Hornets, or even like the Sixers,
I mean,
right?
Yeah,
you move on because you got 2 NBA playoff games tonight. You talk about it for a day. Cooper Flag's going here, and you move on.
Even the Spurs.
But now, the buzz now around this draft lottery with everything that happened this year, and by the way, the Dallas Mavericks are going to get the number 1 overall pick.
You're right. I agree,
dude. It is just chef's kiss.
It is.
The NBA could not have written a better script here.
Right, which makes you believe they are writing the script. When you say something like that, and when a team has a 1% chance, I mean, that's fair. I think to be questioning the lottery is fair, considering Dallas had a 1% chance and traded away Luka and Lance Cooper Flag. Like, those odds seem unbelievable, but that has played out here tonight. So the draft is in June, and Cooper's heading to Dallas, barring something completely unforeseen.
Now, this makes me believe the Knicks are going to win the NBA title this year. I mean, just cap it off with the most insane ending to the NBA season for the 2024-2025 year.
That would be insane.
Oh, and by the way, the Pope's a Knicks fan, so there you go.
Oh, that's right, because the Villanova players.
There you go. Pope's a Villanova fan, loves the Knicks because the Villanova players.
It's so true.
American Pope. Knicks win the title. Luka goes to the Lakers.
It's so true.
Mavs get the number 1 pick in exchange.
Like,
I mean,
does
incredible.
this change the story at all? This is a question that's played out for 6 months. Does this change the story at all on Nico?
No, this dumb luck, dude. And by the way, he still has to like make the actual pick.
Well,
you know what I mean? What if they picked the guy from Rutgers?
Well, come on.
Then it's like,
come on,
Nico!
Can you imagine that? That's not going to happen. It's not going to be Ace Bailey.
But what if he trades it?
Oh, if he trades it? Well, he could trade it for Giannis. Then he's got Giannis, and he's not trading the number 1 overall pick. Maybe he's just going to trade it to the Lakers. He'll trade the number 1 overall pick to the Lakers.
Can we get Luka back? Can they get Luka back for the number 1 pick?
I mean, they could do some things. Could you
do that for a player that you just traded away?
There's no way. No, there's no way. I mean, could you technically?
Could you
Maybe
say
technically?
Could you say, hey, we'll give you the number 1 pick?
You get Cooper Flag,
we get Luka. So basically, they kept Luka, and they kept AD. So they got Luka and AD, Kyrie. Dude,
I mean, never say never.
Remember when we said you were fat? We were just playing.
Yeah, we're just kidding. Yeah, the craziest offseason in NBA history is probably about to begin. All right, why don't we do this right now? We do have a giveaway for you. By the way, Kevin Acee is going to join us at 5. We will turn our attention back to the Padres. They play the Angels tonight to open a 3-game series. Padres 6-3 trip. Angels here for 3. Michael King. We know it's not a must-win, but come on, you got to win tonight, right? Michael King on the mound. Padres back home. Angels, one of the worst records in the American League. Mike Trout is out, right? This is one of those games you get back home. Hopefully you get back healthy, right, tonight for the Padres against the Angels with Michael King on the mound.
And Jackson Merrill is back in the lineup. That is a big thing. Now, they are facing a lefty tonight, so We'll
Right.
see how that goes. But I have no fear when Jackson's facing a lefty, like none. You saw what he did this past week against Max Fried, who's the best lefty in baseball right now. Dude hit a home run off his sweeper that nobody hits home runs off of. Jackson Merrill, he is what am I trying to look for here? There's no matchup issues with him at all.
None.
Righty, lefty, who cares?
Yeah, unlike Jake Cronenworth, who
Yeah.
they'll slide back to the 8-hole tonight because he's facing a left-handed pitcher. You're not going to do that, obviously, with Jackson Merrill. So we'll get you ready with Kevin Acee, the latest on Yu Darvish as well, coming up at 5 p.m. with our Padres Insider. But if you want tickets to see Simple Minds with Soft Cell and Modern English coming up Saturday, May 24th, in less than 2 weeks, call 877-767-4760. Call right now. We've got 2 free tickets. First 2 callers will be contestants for trivia. All you need to do for those 2 free tickets to see Simple Minds, Soft Cell, Modern English, Saturday, May 24th, is call right now. 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. Call right now. We'll give those away on the other side. Plus, Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. right here on Jon and Jim. All right. Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night? Are you worried about your finances in these crazy times? Hey, guys, it is Schaefer. If you're like most people, you've racked up a sizable amount on your credit cards, and the monthly payment, it's not making a dent in it. It's time to call Loan Pronto. If you own a home, you have a super easy way to get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash. Loan Pronto has lots of options for helping you tap into the equity in your home and get the cash you need to get back on solid footing. Most homeowners who do this end up wiping out all their credit card debt and cutting their monthly expenses by $1,000. Look, you didn't mean to end up here, but you don't have to keep stressing about money. Call Loan Pronto for fast debt relief now. The number is 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We'll get an update on you, Darvish. He's supposed to rehab at some point this week in AAA with El Paso. Jackson Merrill missed a game due to an illness, had IVs and fluids, is back in the lineup here tonight. Padres Angels game 1 coming up at 6:40. By the way, if you missed our conversation with Jeff Fletcher, who covers the Angels beat, you'll hear that coming up at 5:30. We're reacting to the draft lottery. NBA postseason tonight back underway between the Celtics and the Knicks. Plus, we're getting you ready for Padres baseball, and Kevin's going to join us at 5 p.m.
You know what I just thought of?
I don't.
So the whole talk around the Luka trade was the Lakers didn't have to really give up anything, and that Nico didn't ask or have to get, other than Luka, it's like, you didn't ask for the world from the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that there's a possible world out there where somehow the Lakers have this pick.
You're saying that Dallas, in addition to trading Luka, would have traded away a pick?
Potentially, like a pick swap or something. Like we'll do a pick swap.
So then they would have traded away Cooper Flagg as well, you're saying?
Potentially. Like Luka and a pick swap for Anthony Davis and like every first round pick for the next 10 years.
But it included a pick swap.
But included one pick swap. Oh my goodness.
Sometimes with those pick swaps, you're protecting those higher picks.
Probably, yeah.
We've seen that a lot over the years, but that is a fair point. They did get, by the way, Dallas in that trade got a first round pick,
but not until the 2030 season or something.
Yeah, 2029.
2029, 2030.
Which isn't exactly, and traditionally the Lakers aren't always going to have like a top 3 pick.
No.
It's not like you make that trade for a top 3 pick. But Dallas, with their 1.8% chance of making or of getting the first pick, has landed it tonight.
I can't wait until the Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo
4-hour breakdown.
Oh my gosh.
5-hour breakdown.
It's going to be a must
Epic.
Listen.
Yeah.
Must listen
definitely will.
to that podcast for sure.
Meanwhile, in games that count,
yes.
Celtics and Knicks are underway. Remember the way the series has played out. First 2 games, the Knicks stole. They trailed by 20 in both of the games.
What did I say, though?
You said Boston, what happens when they hit a lot of threes? And that's exactly what they did in game 3.
And they won by like 30.
They were 12 of 19 in the first half, and they won going away in game 3. And they've got an early lead right now in New York, very early, 11-4. Must win for the Knicks tonight? Must win for
the Knicks.
I could argue it's a must win both ways. Celtics winning 3-1 down?
No, because I think if you look over the first 3 games of this series, besides the last 4 minutes in game 1 and 2,
yeah, it's been all Boston.
Boston has led for 90% of this series.
Yeah, you're right.
And
so they could come back.
They didn't hit their threes, and they still easily could have won games 1 and 2.
You're right.
And then they hit their threes in game 3. They were unbeatable. And if they can do that tonight, I mean, even if they lose tonight, all they have to do is just win 1 game on the road.
Yeah, and win 2 at home.
So it is an absolute must-win game for the Knicks tonight. No doubt about it. If they lose this game, they're losing the series.
Must-win game tonight for the Warriors at home. Steph Curry is out, right? Steph's out for game 4?
He's out for game 4. Okay. He's out for game 5. The hope is game 6 on Sunday, which is a week.
Oh,
yeah.
So Warriors lost. They lost what? Who fouled out?
Oh, Draymond Green.
Draymond Green fouled out. They had foul trouble.
Awful game.
He was terrible.
He was awful.
Steph Curry again missed the game. They lose to T-Wolves at home.
And that's the thing about Draymond. He is such a head case that he got taken out of his game in game 2. When he got that technical foul, he just completely lost it. And then there was no excuse for what the fan yelled at him. And I still don't even know if his post-game tirade was directed at the fan or was it directed at what happened on court. He hasn't spoken since then, so I don't know what it truly is about there. But he looked completely lost in game 3, fouled out with 4 minutes left to go. He was awful. Julius Randle had his way with him, and Draymond's going to need to have a good game tonight because he is a huge reason why they lost game 3.
All right, so it's clearly a must-win for the Warriors. I would, if the Warriors win this game, yes, still 2 out of 3 would be in Minnesota, but you might get Steph back for game 6.
But that's also a tough ask. You're saying, hey, you need to win 2 in Minnesota now.
1.
Or sorry, 1 in Minnesota.
If they win tonight, they just have to win 1 in Minnesota, and if it's with Steph. So if you can fast forward.
That's likely a game 7.
Exactly. So you're now fast forwarding to a 7th game. I mean, I'm not betting against the Warriors in game 7. If I would have lost game 7, I would have lost.
Here's my takeaway from the first 3 games of this series.
Yeah.
Is that it would have been a gentleman's sweep if Steph was healthy.
It would have been a gentleman's. I agree with you. They would have won in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
but with him unhealthy, it might be a gentleman's sweep.
But yeah, exactly.
I mean, not really.
I mean, the Mavericks might blow out the Warriors tonight, and it won't even look close. But
T-Wolves.
T-Wolves. Yep. Mavericks are my mind because number 1 pick. Yeah, T-Wolves, not ready.
Yeah, now Oklahoma City winning game 4 has won this series.
Yes.
That was so massive for them to win game 4 in Denver. Now they have 2 of the next 3 at home if they need it. I think they're going to win that series. Indiana's in cruise control right now against Cleveland. They dominated game 4. They led by 50 at one point.
Hey, NBA, how about we give a couple more off days here so these teams don't look exhausted?
Well, your Warriors are about to get it. If they can force a game 6, there's like 10 off days between game 5 and 6.
You look at the Thunder
Nuggets
game on Sunday after a Friday night game.
Right.
It was awful. The Nuggets scored 7 points in the first quarter.
The team started 1 for 32 from 3.
They're
combined.
dead. They're dead tired.
Right. Little more off days? Little less basketball?
I mean, the first round was like 4 off days between games.
Right.
Get to round 2, it's like 1 off day game, 1 off day game.
Look at the Warriors are on fumes because they played the 7th game and then turned around and played game 1.
They have no one to blame but themselves. They should have taken care of that series in 6.
Yeah.
And then maybe Steph doesn't get hurt because you have to
more rest.
You have to more rest. You have to exert more energy because of game 7. So the reason why the Warriors will get bounced here in this round, you could date all the way back to game 6, not finishing off the Rockets because you had to go to game 7. And then because of that definitely played a factor into Steph getting hurt in game 1. And then you effed around in game 3 and you didn't give Steph the opportunity to come back. And they're not winning this series.
As we sit here right now, the 2025 NBA champion will be
it will be the Boston Celtics.
I think they'd still remain the favorite. The second favorite for me would probably be Oklahoma City.
I'm going to take the Boston Celtics.
Over Oklahoma City?
Yeah. I think the NBA Finals will be the Celtics
Thunder
and the Thunder.
Yeah, because the Thunder they're gonna beat the Nuggets. They're gonna beat the T-Wolves if it's the T-Wolves. We'll see about the Warriors.
No.
If the Warriors were to get there. But you say absolutely not.
No chance.
All right. Celtics next again underway. Celtics an early lead in
Knicks
New York.
can't make a 3 if their life depended on it.
Or a shot right now. Celtics trying to even up the series again at 2 games apiece in New York. All right. Kevin Acee. Man, he had a long week, didn't he?
It was a long game on Saturday night.
Not just that, but to fly to Pittsburgh and then New York and then to Colorado. And that was a long trip for the Padres. They played well on it. They go 6-3. Kevin's back in San Diego. So are the Padres. They'll have the Angels tonight at 6:40. And Kevin will join us on the other side. So Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, will kick off hour 4. Plus, if you missed Jeff Fletcher, who's covered the Angels beat basically since Trout's been there. I think he's been on the beat since like 2012. And Trout broke in 2011.
It's Jeff's fault.
Yeah, exactly. It was a pretty interesting conversation. You'll hear it coming up at 5:30, just about where they are right now with Mike Trout, where they are as a state of the organization as well. So we'll hear from Jeff Fletcher in the 5 o'clock hour, but Kevin Acee on the other side to kick off hour 4. So don't go anywhere. Again, hour 4 of Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760, also live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it's us again, Jon and Jim, for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place, where every Monday night, including tonight, you've got a chance to walk away with a Ford Mustang Mach-E each week this month. All right, a brand new Ford Mustang Mach-E every Monday in May. You can earn entries all month long just by playing, and on Tuesdays, you can earn 2-time entries.
Experience the ultimate sports showdown, John. Catch the Padres, hockey, and the basketball playoff games live. Plus, you can have savory bites at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, where fandom meets fantastic.
So that's coming up. Also, by the way, you still have an opportunity to vote for Jamul in the UT Best of Awards. That's now through tomorrow. They'd love your vote for best local casino, best sports bar, best nightclub, and more. That's at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
All right, this update's brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Padres, they start a 3-game series with the Angels tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. The NBA Draft Lottery It was a shocker. The Dallas Mavericks had a 1.8% chance to land the number 1 overall pick. They have the number 1 overall pick, and they will have Cooper Flagg. Spurs get the 2nd overall pick, followed by the Philadelphia 76ers. NBA action happening right now. Knicks and Celtics, game 4 in New York. The Knicks lead the Celtics early on 17-16 with 5 minutes left to go in the first quarter there. Warriors T-Wolves tip off at 7 p.m. tonight, game 4, with the T-Wolves leading 2-1. And the Eagles, they're going to host the Cowboys to kick off the 2025 NFL season Thursday, September 4th in Philadelphia. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about essential warm weather styles? Just $30 and under, like dresses, shoes, and bags, men's, and even kids' looks. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage store near you.
All right, final hour, Jon and Jim, as the Padres get ready for the Angels. No rest day, no off day for the Padres off that series in Denver. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He's back home as the Padres get ready for this homestand against the Angels and the Mariners. So, Kevin, we always appreciate you hopping on here on San Diego Sports 760. I know you've been reporting about Yu Darvish and a rehab start expected later this week. I guess to further that conversation, what do they do with this rotation? The way Stephen Kolek is pitching, Randy Vasquez has been a mainstay here to start the year. Once Darvish returns, what choices are they going to have related to their rotation?
I think the schedule is going to take care of them because Darvish is going to come back, and he's going to come back, or at least we assume he is, right before they go into where they don't have many off days. I think there's a 9-day stretch, day off, 13-day stretch, day off, 13-day stretch, day off, 9-day stretch. 3 days off in 5 weeks or something. So I think that it's a 6-man rotation. I kind of think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it sounds like a no-brainer for sure, especially the way Stephen Kolek has been pitching. The shutout on Saturday night, just incredible outing for him. Jackson Merrill back in the lineup. Good news today. Was it just like food poisoning he had yesterday or what?
Yes, though I'm not sure that it wasn't also like one of these that goes around, like that it's foodborne, but then goes around a little bit. And I'm saying that because, there were some guys that were sick on the trip that they were ill, they missed a game, right? And so it's weird that 3-4 guys would be ill on the trip. I'm always amazed that more guys don't get sick once one guy gets sick, because of the proximity that they always are in. But it appears to have passed, though, some guys said they were feeling it. So we'll keep an eye on, I guess.
All right, so Jackson Merrill back in that starting lineup tonight for the Padres. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, with us right now on Jon and Jim. What would you say about their overall play on the trip? I mean, they go 6-3, which is very good, obviously, on the road, but they had the leads at Yankee Stadium they didn't hold on to. It seemed as if they were just rolling through the Rockies until they weren't yesterday. How would you summarize the 9 games?
I think that's well put. I have a hard time being too upset. Like you leave a win on the field. Well, you did yesterday. Did you leave a win on the field in New York? Yeah, you did. But that's a really good team that really does have a good bullpen that blew it on you once. And you had just a bad pitch selection by Jason Adams, who's been so good for you. The Yankees are a good team. It's hard to be too down on that series in May. I don't think this team's in a position where they're gonna be counting victories at the end of the season. Gonna miss the wild card by a game. I don't think so. So I have a hard time getting too worked up over it. But I like the way you put it. They could have won. Well, they should have won 2 games in New York, and they could have won 3. They could have won 3 games in. Or they could have won 3 games in Colorado. Look, Germán Marquez has done good before. Germán Marquez knows how to pitch, and it looked sort of like the old pre-Tommy John Germán Marquez. It happens. But, you didn't sweep the Rockies. I got to think that's a little tiny bit disappointing.
Yeah, I called it a good but not great road trip. They had opportunities. 7-2 is great. 6-3 is very good. And they just kind of squandered it yesterday against the Rockies, but still I know Mike Schilt loves the moniker, take 2 of 3 and we'll be good. So they took 2 of 3 and they're good there, Kevin. Couple things in the bullpen. Wandy Peralta's had a rough go around here of late. Is his time coming to an end here, or because of his contract, they're just going to have to find a spot for him?
Yeah, I think you got a beat on it. It's the most problematic of all of like the guys to struggle outside of obviously if Jason Adam and Robert Suarez were struggling. You'd be like, because that's got some, real immediate problems. You can hide Wandy Peralta. Jason Adam has pitched a lot. You couldn't hide Wandy Peralta in New York. And then, Colorado is Colorado.
Right.
I don't know that they're worried about Wandy because of how he has been pitching. But the fact is, Wandy, even though he's now become this pitcher that pitches to contact, he's not getting any swing and miss. Like you put him up against the wrong guys like you had to in New York. You knew going in, oh boy, we're going to have to get a little lucky here. That's what they knew because Wandy's not supposed to be in that situation facing those guys. And he was, because that's just how the season goes. Not everybody can pitch every night. So now Colorado, I'm far more willing to be like, okay, well, let me see how he pitches this week at home. Because you nailed it. Like the contract's a problem. It's not Xander Bogaerts money, but it's Xander Bogaerts money for a middle reliever. And this is a team that it was a big deal. They could restructure, or not restructure, but sort of structure creatively some contracts because of cash flow situations. That whatever it is, $4 million a year that Wandy's owed is certainly something that you could be concerned about at this point.
Kevin Acee is with us right now. Jon and Jim, Padres Angels coming up at 6:40 from Petco Park. I was surprised when I looked up last night, and Manny Machado leads the National League in hitting. I mean, he's been scorching hot. I think he's hitting 11 consecutive games. We're still waiting on some of that power, but is this one of the better stretches? I mean, Manny always has those stretches, but to hit 324 for this long is pretty impressive out of Manny.
It is. I guess I'm just a guy covering a team that I'm expecting to be competing for a championship, which certainly I would not have been this guy even back in 21 or 22, right? But now we're talking about should have been in the playoffs 4 or 5 years. We're in the playoffs 3 or 5 years. Probably we're the second best team in the majors last year. The window's open. I'm holding this team to a high standard. Where's the power? That's my question. Right. Now, it is not one of it's you nailed it. That this is, Manny goes on these heaters. He led the league, I think. Remember when him and Hosmer in 22? It was like middle of May, end of May. They were 1-2, jockeying back and forth in terms of batting average and on-base percentage. Manny it's almost like it's just so predictable that he's going to go on a tear. Now, you're waiting for it to be 2 doubles and a homer or 2 homers in a game. Those are the real Manny tears, where it's like a 1080 OPS over 38 games. That's what we're waiting for.
And I think we all can, like we've said before, we can agree that it's coming. It will definitely come. And he's hot right now, so that's a good thing. Jackson Merrill's also hot, Kevin. 11 for 19, I believe, since his return. I mean, this kid is you're running out of words to describe his play on the field. I'm just kind of thinking to myself here, man, imagine if he was healthy for this season and didn't miss 24-ish games this year, that he could be putting up some even bigger numbers.
Yeah, it's always impressive to me when a guy was hot goes on the injured list and comes back and is as hot or hotter, right? And just like which game was it? They lost it. Oh, the game that he almost won on, I think it was the loss in New York, not the 12-3 loss, but the other one, right? Wasn't he the home run and then the single to put him up? Like that's the situations that even when the kid was batting 5th, 7th, he was finding himself in, right? Like wherever he is, he comes up and he makes something happen. I just love watching him bat. Like he goes up there hunting and then he adjusts in the at bat to the point. Like it's just so impressive. And he was doing it at 21 and now at 22, he's like a scholar. Like this guy just knows baseball, lives baseball. He is so fun to cover, so fun to talk baseball with. And he's just brought talent and of course, but like so much to this team. I just can't I can't say enough. It's and it's not like this will always be the case, but the things I just said about him, I will say about him when he's scuffling, because he's that good and that important to this team.
You've written on Dylan Cease. He's just good to go, right? He'll make his start Tuesday, and they're not concerned with what played out in New York, right?
That's what they say. And look, they would not have. He did his normal routine. He threw a bullpen yesterday. They would not have had him do that if they didn't believe it, right? I assume you're like me. You're going to wait and see what he throws like, and does he get through, 5, 6 innings, 7 innings tomorrow? I mean, it's just right. That's what you're going to like. It's all good, and there is evidence to back it up. Like I said, that's why I chronicled it every day. Is like, okay, he did his day 2 routine, he did his day 3 routine, he did, did his day 4 routine. Okay, so it's all good. They wouldn't have done that if they didn't think he was all good. But I'll be okay, cool. All right, we saw him pitch a full game tomorrow. Everything's okay. But everybody I've talked to, both in and out of the organization, believes that it was just a cramp. No one, what's crazy about it, not doctors outside, because obviously no doctor treating Dylan's going to talk to me about Dylan, but not other doctors familiar with this sort of thing, not people that know Dylan, not people on the team can tell me why it happened. I mean, I think that's funny. Usually there's an explanation like, oh, yeah, I've seen this before. No one can tell me why it happened, but it happened.
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre. And when you consider the circumstances, too, he's working on a no-hitter. It's Yankee Stadium. And, yeah, it just air came out of the balloon quick. But thankfully for the Padres, it sounds like he will make that start on Tuesday. My final question, Kevin, would be, do you have any further insight on what transpired with Buddy Black? I know he's with the Rockies. You're not covering the Rockies. But, I mean, obviously changing managers isn't changing their season. Was this at all potentially Buddy Black?
Some mercy firing?
Was he did he go to the organization, or did the organization go to him? Do you have any idea how this all played out? Because obviously this year wasn't going well for anyone.
I think that's a fair question, except that would have been Buddy Black was giving up whatever it is, $1.5 million or whatever.
Sure.
So I don't think that, but that, look, here's my take on it. You know how they always say relieved of duties, and it's like, well, why didn't you guys just write fired?
Right.
Like yesterday, I thought relieved of duties was about accurate.
The right term.
Yeah.
Right. Like this guy was relieved of his duties. It was a relief. It was a mercy firing. Now that's really glib and really easy for me to be sarcastic about it. But the fact is, like, that's what it felt like, was like, when is this poor guy going to be let out of this? Because I got to tell you, and you didn't ask me this, you don't have time for this, but like just being there, talking to people, and observing and how bad they are and how there's no plan for them. Like when this team sucked, the Padres, the one that we all talk about and write about, like it didn't mean the plan was going to work out, but there was a plan, right? Mm-hmm. There was a plan for how they were going to get better.
Yeah.
The Rockies do not seem to and have not seemed to for a long time have a plan, and they are terrible. Like it's unreal. And I have all the respect in the world. This is actually probably the first time I've felt like all the respect in the world for major leaguers. I did not feel I was covering a major league team save for 2 or 3 guys. And I'm in awe of what these men can do, and that they made it to the major leagues when all 3 of us when we were 8 years old, thought we were going to. So like, that's the best. I'm not a fan of teams. I'm a fan of awesomeness. And like, but I just have never felt like this. Like, what am I watching? And I've seen them now 6 games, and all 6 games, even the one they won, you go, oh, that's why they suck. So like, this is not Buddy Black. This is a construction and a philosophy issue. And again, I talked way too much because you don't have time for me to go into the Rockies here, but that's how I feel.
No, I mean, it's well said. And what amazes me, actually, the final point I would make is how on earth are they drawing 30,000 plus fans? That to me is incredible.
All I'll say, because you want me to go, is amen. Those people in Denver love
unbelievable.
Their sports.
I know they have very good fans. There's no question about it. All right, Kevin, we appreciate it. We'll catch up with you later in the week.
Right on. Take care.
Right, great. Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. The Players Place will react. Plus, you'll hear from Jeff Fletcher, who covers the Angels beat, coming up at 5:30. This is Jon and Jim right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886. Now, to support keeping AM radio in cars, tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register, on the Angels coming up at 5:30. But Jim has a theory. Is it a theory?
It's not really.
You have an opinion?
It's a theory.
Is it a take?
It's a take. It's
on the lottery.
It's a take. It's a theory. It's an opinion.
Okay, so this is on the NBA draft lottery that just played out within the last hour.
Oh yeah, that thing's rigged, bro.
So you are now officially in the conspiracy theory, definitely rigged.
Let's present some facts. All right.
Okay.
Back in 2003.
Oh yes, this must be your theory. Where did you see this?
I didn't see this anywhere.
Back in 2003.
LeBron James.
Who gets the Cavs?
Who gets the number one pick that year?
Cavs.
All right.
Yep. It's from Akron.
Yeah. Fast forward. The year Derrick Rose comes out. Where does he go?
Bulls.
Okay, Bulls. The year that Anthony Davis is traded from the Pelicans to the Lakers. Where does the number one pick go that year for Zion?
New Orleans.
Correct. The year that Luka is traded to the Lakers from the Dallas Mavericks. What happens that year in the draft?
Dallas.
Bro, this is not. I mean, look.
Wait. So tell me, what does that all add up to?
It all adds up to the teams that year that a generational superstar is out.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, Cleveland, hometown.
Mm-hmm.
D Rose, Chicago.
What's the Zion one?
The Zion one is that the Pelicans that year traded Anthony Davis to the Lakers.
Right.
In return,
I got you. They got
number
Zion.
one pick for Zion.
There was all that excitement. They sold all those tickets. Right.
Huge.
Okay. I got you.
And they weren't favored to win the number one pick that year.
I got you.
Neither were the Bulls.
Right.
And I think the Cavs were up there, but
they must have been up there. They were awful.
They were awful. I can't fully remember though.
Okay. No, I'll go down that path.
And then
with you.
this year, Luka gets traded from the Mavericks to the Lakers, and then in return, the Mavericks with the number one overall pick for Cooper Flagg.
I can go down that path with you.
Come on, man.
So
it's a business.
So what you're telling me then, though, it's not that this year's is rigged. You're saying the NBA is rigged.
I'm not saying that every year is rigged. I'm saying that
pick their spots.
There's agendas that need to be taken care of, and it's a business. And it's really going to be hard for the NBA to run away from the fact that, like, the years that there's these quote unquote generational superstars coming out, they happen to go to the exact spot that might need them the most. Now, the Spurs with Wemby, who did Wemby grow up a fan of?
Well, they had the highest percent.
They did. So I get that. Like
last year. Was ever like, man, we need to get Zachary Ricochet to Atlanta?
But no, I remember what I'm saying.
I know you're saying that the spots have been picked, like not every year.
You
but
can't
when
do it every year.
Yeah,
you pick and choose your spots.
No, I got you.
Like when the Lakers eventually do suck, and there's a generational talent, they will be getting the number one overall pick. You can mark my words on that. When the Knicks suck again, and there's a generational star coming out.
Let me just say
I don't know because they already got their Patrick Ewing, but you get my point.
Your point's valid. And they had the 1.8% chance, which is right there among the lowest, right? We talked about that earlier. Cavs in 2014, 1.7% chance they land Andrew Wiggins. Okay?
And that was guess what? They got the Kyrie. They got back-to-back number one overall picks, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. 2013, 2014. Anthony Bennett, Andrew Wiggins.
When did LeBron leave the Cavs?
Then?
Yeah. So, I mean, come on.
Okay, I'm just going back when the Clippers landed. Oh, the Cavs got Kyrie with the number one pick, right?
Yes.
2011. Yeah. All right, I'm just looking back. You bring up some good points.
And LeBron left the Cavs in when? 2010,
right?
I believe. In the following year, they get the number one overall pick, and they continue to get number one overall picks like year after year after year. I mean, come on, dude.
I mean, it's interesting. I don't disagree. I welcome the opinions on it. I think it's kind of fascinating.
It's the business model side of the NBA. They needed a boost.
It was a big boost.
How big of a boost is Luka to the Lakers? That's a big boost.
How big is Cooper Flagg to Dallas? A lot bigger than the Charlotte Hornets.
Yep.
A lot bigger than the Utah Jazz.
They're TV rights deal is starting up this year with NBC. I mean, Amazon. Look, am I saying
Mavericks Lakers?
Am I saying that Adam Silver's sitting behind closed doors, like pulling the strings on all of this?
Yes, you are.
Kinda. It's really hard to beat the allegations when all of this is just going to be like circumstance.
Does it make you like the NBA more or less?
It makes me like the NBA a lot more because I want this type of drama. I want this type of conspiracy theories out there. I want the best players going to the biggest markets.
Right. You didn't want Cooper Flag with the Jazz
or the Wizards.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or even the Charlotte Hornets.
No. No. You want the best players going to the best spots. Now, the year that Zion went to the Pelicans, I think the Knicks were also up there too as well.
Okay.
But that year they traded AD. They did a solid. They got AD to LA with LeBron.
And Zion, that was only a 6% chance to land with the Pelicans.
It's some of Adam Silver's finest work here over the last couple of years, if I might say so myself.
The Dallas Mavericks have been the center of the NBA universe. Not necessarily for good reasons, but they've certainly been the center of the NBA universe. All right, if you missed Jeff Fletcher, he covers the beat for the Angels. Angels and Padres coming up at 6:40. We'll share that conversation with you on the other side. We still have tickets to give away. Simple Minds with Soft Sell and Modern English. We can do that straight ahead as well. That's Saturday, May 24th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. But Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register, that's next. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by eBay. Padres and Angels start a 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. The NBA draft lottery, which is completely rigged. Dallas Mavericks, they have the number 1 overall pick. Very interesting there. Spurs have the 2nd pick, and the Sixers have the 3rd pick. NBA playoff action happening right now in New York. Celtics leading the Knicks 48-42 with 6:21 left in the first half there. Warriors and T-Wolves tip off at 7 p.m. Game 4 in the Bay Area. And NFL news of the day, the opener of the season will be in Philadelphia as the Eagles will host the Cowboys on September 4th. Swapping out your tires, there's nothing like it with eBay. You find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all your tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jim still thinks the lottery is rigged. But I just watched, and we'll get to Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register in 1 minute. But the NBA just released the hopper with the ball combinations for each of the teams. And when you watch the video, I don't know really how you rig it. I mean, maybe you can. I have no clue.
Do it in real time then.
Oh, why don't they do it in real time?
Why?
Well, all the executives are there to watch.
Okay, cool.
So the executives knew the results before it's announced to the media and to the public.
Do it in real time.
Yeah, I agree. When I watched it, I'm like, I don't know how you rig it. Because the guy opens the little drawer and then some number pops up.
Okay.
Then you open the little drawer, some other number pops up.
Yeah, investigate the machine.
Number combination. But then the number combinations all add up. The thing's kind of confusing.
I want someone to literally put their hand inside of it and grab it out.
But that would make it even easier, because the way the Mavericks ended up with this first pick was based on 4 balls coming out of the hopper. So it was like a combination, like 7-12, 7-12 is the reason why they got that pick. It's hard to explain.
All other ping pong balls are weighted down.
Yeah, maybe. All right, Jeff Fletcher, Orange County Register, Padres Angels coming up in 1 hour. If you missed our conversation, we started asking about the health of Mike Trout is once again out this week.
Thanks for having me. He's been doing some light hitting off a tee and flips and stuff like that. He hasn't really run yet. That's sort of the big test for him. He's going to have to he's kind of running on a anti-gravity thing, one of those Ultra Gs. He might start that, today or tomorrow, and that'll be sort of the first, indication to how close he is to coming back. But we don't have to worry about him playing in San Diego.
That's good news for
series,
Padres fans and the Padres for sure there. Jeff, how's Ron Washington been, as his time as a manager there? He's put in a situation, maybe a little difficult of a situation, but so far, how has he been as a manager?
It's been tough for him because, he expects a lot of his players and they haven't really performed that well. And a lot of them are young and still learning. But, I think he knew to some degree that that's what he was in for. And, he's all about teaching, and they certainly have a lot to learn.
All right, so Jeff Fletcher, OC Register, with us right now. I think at last check, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't have the worst record in the American League. They have the worst record, obviously, in the AL West. The White Sox have been worse. The Orioles, surprisingly, have been worse. But, what are fans clinging to right now with the Angels? Are there bright signs with this team, or what's on the other side of this right now with the Angels?
Well, they have a few young players that look like really core players for the long run. Zach Neto, the shortstop, Logan O'Hoppe, the catcher. Those are 2 guys that are going to be around for a while, and they're going to be like the 2 key players when the team's good again. They got some other young players that they thought would be in that category that have not kind of taken the next step so far. Like pitcher Jose Soriano, reliever Ben Joyce has been hurt, but he looks like he could be really good. And Nolan Shinewell, the first baseman, is another guy that, he was barely in the minor leagues, and he came up and played a full year last year, basically at age 22. So they feel like he could be a pretty good player too. But they're not really taking the big steps that they would like to see them take, right away.
Jeff, is it safe to say that we can call it right now, Anthony Rendon, worst contract in the history of baseball, or or would you say there's another contract out there that's worse than what Anthony Rendon has had here?
Anthony Rendon did not even have the worst contract on players who were on the 2019 Washington Nationals.
Oh, yes, you're right. Steven Strasburg, right?
Exactly.
There you go.
I figured it's a San Diego reference for you guys. So I think people like to forget about that one because he re-signed with the team that he'd already been produced some value for. But still, if you look at what he did after signing that contract, he pitched like 40 innings for a 7-year contract. So Anthony Rendon is definitely on the short list, but I think it's going to be hard to be worse than that one.
So what's the plan like with him in the future? Is there any idea what they're going to do with him, or what's the plan with Anthony Rendon in the Angels uniform for his tenure?
I don't think they really have a plan. I think they want to see, he's not expected to play this year. They'll deal with next year. And, if he can play, he might play. And if he can't, then that'll be it for him because that's the last year of his contract. So I don't think anybody's really talking about him or thinking about him or holding out hope for him. He's sort of a out of sight, out of mind guy right now.
Jeff Fletcher with us. He covers the Angels for the OC Register, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jeff, what do you make of the Padres' fast start this year in the NL West?
Everybody thought the Padres were going to be good. They were certainly very good last year, and they've got a good team this year. I don't think that really should surprise anybody. So I think it's great. I'd like to see them, go to the World Series.
Jeff, are there any players that you would consider, trade candidates on the Angels that you could see being traded at the deadline this year?
Oh, yeah. They have a lot of guys that could be if they are performing. Kenley Jansen, I guess, would be number one, top of the list. Closers at the trade deadline always seem to be of interest to teams. Tyler Anderson has been their best starting pitcher so far. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He's not the kind of guy that a team looking for like an ace would want, but if just the team that needs to replace some innings, maybe for a guy that got hurt, he certainly could be of some help. Yohan Moncada is a guy who he's already missed about a month, but since he's come back in the last week, he's looked really good. And, if he stays healthy and continues to perform for the next 3 months, there certainly could be a chance that he's of use to somebody. Taylor Ward is another guy that is in a pretty slow start right now, but he's a guy that if he performs up to his normal level, certainly could be a trade candidate. And he's also under control for next year too. So if he's doing well, that could certainly make him interesting. Luis Rengifo is another guy who's a free agent at the end of this year, is really having a bad year right now, but should be better than he's been. And he can play a few different positions, switch hitter, has some speed. So definitely they have some choices, but so far some of those guys aren't really playing very well. So they need to be playing better.
Jeff, it probably goes without saying, but what is the concern level with Trout's overall health? I mean, you remember there was a time where he played every single game year in and year out, and now it's been years since he's even played like 100 games. I guess he had 2022, but you look at the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a lot of years where he's barely played, obviously, and he's dealt with all these injuries. How concerning is it? Can it be rectified moving forward? It seems unlikely as he ages throughout his career.
Well, they moved him to right field this year in an effort to keep him a little healthier. Yeah. I'm not sure that that's really makes a huge amount of difference, but they had to try something different, This injury that he's got currently, they don't think is that big a deal, but as you say, the history he's had recently, nobody will believe that until he's literally back in the lineup. Nobody's going to believe that he's, when he's coming back. So we'll see. It's obviously a concern. I mean, he's their best player. He's the guy that makes them a lot better team, and they need him to play. And he hasn't played a whole lot, very much. And until he does, it's just going to be really tough for the team to really be a lot better.
Sorry, you cut out there at the end, but I'll follow up on that. I mean, you've covered this team for such a long time, 10 plus years. There's no scenario where he doesn't finish his career with the Angels, right?
I don't think so. The only thing I can think is a scenario where, like at the very last year or something, if he is going to retire and he wants to go play for the Phillies in his last year, and they just send him over there, that's a possibility. But he's got too much money left on his deal, and he's been hurt too much that you can't make a real value trade for him you'd basically be just giving him away and still having to pay a lot of his salary. So, and unless he plays a lot and a lot better, you're not going to really have teams interested in taking on his contract.
You know, you mentioned all the players that potentially could be traded at the deadline this year. I mean, how many rebuilds can this organization go through? I mean, are they from a depth standpoint or organizational depth standpoint in their minor leagues? Like, how do they feel about how close they might be with the talent they have if they're considering trading off, you know, a majority of the players that you mentioned earlier on?
Well, it's funny you mentioned how many rebuilds, because I think a lot of people would say that they haven't had any yet, which is the problem. That they haven't really ever taken that step of really just trading away players and starting from scratch. I mean, last year they could have traded a few more players than the ones they did, but they didn't get the offers they liked, and they said, well, we're going to keep them because we're going to try again next year. So that's not really a rebuild. A rebuild is when you just say, we're going to burn it to the ground and we're going to have a few years where we're not really going to compete, which is something that as long as Mike Trout has been on the roster, they have never done. So that's really why it has taken so long, because they've tried to do it a little bit at a time instead of just kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and, you know, doing it the way, you know, a lot of other teams would.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre when you look at the annual win-losses for the Angels, as you know, Jeff. I mean, their last time in the postseason, everyone knows, was 2014, but their last 500 team was 2015. But to your point, there's been no, like, the wheels never fully fell off. They haven't lost 100 games in any season. They lost 99 last year. But it's just kind of bizarre to see how these seasons have played out year in and year out in Anaheim. But we appreciate you hopping on, Jeff. Thanks for taking time for us in San Diego. Hope you're well, and we'll do it again at some point soon.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Jim's back page is going to come up on the other side. Jim cannot get over the Mavericks landing the top overall pick, right? Like, you're kind of, you have this quizzical look still.
I'm deep into
the
conspiracy theories. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think man landed on the moon?
Yes.
See, I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, stop.
No, I'm serious. Jim's back page is next. All right, Wednesday at 6, San Diego Sports 760's got SDFC Midweek Live. You'll hear from Mikey Varas, the head coach, as well as interviews with players and coaches. The latest club and MLS information hosted by Darren Smith. SDFC Midweek Live every Wednesday at 6 on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. What a show, man.
What a show.
What a show. It's only Monday.
Started. Let's go another 4 hours right now.
You want to do it? I'll match you. I'll go 5. Actually, I wouldn't. What would it take to like just stay here until midnight? Then winning the World Series. If they had won the World Series, I'm down.
Yeah, winning the World Series,
right
making
now?
the World Series.
Yeah.
If like they traded Manny Machado,
if they landed the top pick,
if they
Padres landed the top pick,
right, number 1 overall pick in the draft
that'd be
lottery,
huge.
They're getting Cooper Flag.
The equivalent, the baseball equivalent.
No, they're getting Cooper Flag.
It'd be even bigger. Yeah.
They pull out the Padres logo and the San Diego Padres with the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Huh?
Dallas.
I love it. I can't wait for all of the podcasts out there.
Oh yeah,
just
they're making
like,
them right now.
What?
They're recording those puppies.
There's no doubt in my mind that Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo are doing an emergency pod as we speak, even with the Knicks Celtics game on.
Going at the same time and they're doing the podcast?
Even with Bill Simmons and his Celtics.
Right.
Nope, screw that emergency pod.
Emergency pod. All right, let's get to this.
Crumble cookies.
Yeah, let's go.
This week, the special crumble cookies are a chocolate. Oh my God, sounds so good. Chocolate hazelnut cheesecake featuring Nutella cookie.
Okay.
What? A confetti milkshake cookie.
Mm-hmm.
A Buckeye brownie cookie.
Okay.
Huh?
Have you ever had a Buckeye?
No.
Oh, they're good.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Strawberry cake cookie, a skillet cookie, a milk chocolate chip cookie, and then a tres leches cake.
Oh, a cake.
I might have to go to Crumble Cookie tonight to get that chocolate hazelnut cheesecake featuring Nutella cookie.
Yes. That's exactly what you and Aaron need.
I need 17,000 calories in my stomach right now from one cookie.
You could have it for dinner.
I literally could
Put
have
it
it
on
for
the plate.
I could have it for dinner and I could be full for the rest of the night.
Exactly.
Live a little, have 2.
Yeah.
Have 3. Screw it.
Yeah.
This story, it's perfect timing, by the way.
Okay.
A jersey, a Dallas Mavericks jersey with the number 77 on the back of it, signed by Luka.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the catch. The nameplate that should say Doncic says Fire Nico.
Ooh.
A custom-made Fire Nico jersey that was signed by Luka Doncic will sell at an auction later this month.
So he signed this knowing that it said Fire Nico on it?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. As of Monday, the auction had reached $1,000 with more than 19 days remaining. This thing will.
It's gonna.
Like, think about this. This is not a Luka Doncic jersey. This is a fan-made jersey with Luka's signature on it. $1,000 right now for the bidding with
it's gonna be
3
way
weeks
more
left.
than that, yeah.
That's insane.
Yep.
It's incredible.
Fire Nico fan jersey signed. Okay.
Yeah, it's wild. So anyway, Fire Nico jersey, perfect timing there for that. Moving along here, John.
Yeah.
Raising Cane's. I would ask you if you liked it, but you don't eat chicken.
Correct.
Raising Cane's has a buy one, get one free box combo. Raising Cane's fans, here's a deal you will not want to miss. Select Caniac Club members may have received a buy one, get one free box combo offer in their account. Check it out. You will be able to get a buy one, get one. If you're not a member yet, it's easy to join. New members who sign up will receive a free box combo offer within 2 days of joining.
Within 2 days of joining. Wow.
Yeah.
What an offer.
What an offer. You son of a... I hate you. And finally, Tic Tacs.
Yeah, I like those. The orange ones.
Has collabed with this, I guess, soda brand, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Tic Tac and Dr. Pepper have officially announced an exciting new collaboration. Dr. Pepper flavored Tic Tacs set to launch across the U.S. this fall.
Wow.
I'm just laughing at. He's like, I guess it's a soda brand. Like he's never heard of Dr. Pepper before.
I hate Dr. Pepper.
Wasn't
Originally,
Brent like hooked to it for like a decade?
no, that was Mountain Dew, right?
No, that was Mountain Dew when I
Okay,
was in high
yeah.
school. I like Diet Dr. Pepper more than normal Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
This was originally teased as an April Fool's joke. Overwhelming fan enthusiasm turned the concept into a reality. Excited about that?
Oh, I like that sentence ended too. I would try those Tic Tacs. Seriously. I would try them. I don't think it's like obscene. It's not like a mustard Tic Tac.
The new mints aim to capture the iconic blend of 23 flavors that Dr. Pepper is known for.
All right.
Okay.
Guess who's in the building for the Western Semis Game 4?
That's Jimmy Butler, John.
And Draymond Green. Do you have anything else?
One
you
more.
have more. I thought you were done.
It's not really a story. It's just kind of highlighting how bad the Colorado Rockies are. And there's already like a tracker to compare them to last year's White Sox team.
Wow.
At this time last year, through 40 games, the White Sox were 12-28 with a minus 83 run differential and a 4.65 ERA.
They were 12-28. They were that good?
The Rockies right now are 7-33 with a minus 128 run differential and a 5.77 team ERA.
So they're way worse. Currently.
Like way worse.
I mean, how few games can you win? Seriously, like what would you set as their over-under?
37.
I'd go a little higher, but I'd go under the White Sox. I'd go like 39.5.
Now, they could have some crazy
They
like
could win like a series.
8-game winning streak somehow. It's highly unlikely.
Win 3 out of 4.
Yeah, they could put together a good stretch of games where they go like 10-15.
That'd be like amazing. Like,
You know
we're
what I mean?
rolling. We're
Yeah.
10-16 in their last 26.
But still, 10-16.
I know,
That's
it'd be incredible.
It's a good stretch to not have the worst record of all time.
It's not like they have the lowest payroll either.
No,
That's the funny thing. They're spending like $120 million on
and
this
they're
team.
drawing.
They have 30,000 people every night.
Honestly, if I was a Rockies fan, like if I was a
Well,
diehard
no.
Rockies fan, I would try to go to as many games as possible just to witness history every single night.
Witnesses.
So I could be like, I
I was
watched.
there.
I went to 65 home games of their 36-win season in 2025.
I'd rather buy baseball cards. With that
Well,
money.
you should. I heard you bought baseball cards today.
I did for Jones.
Oh, great.
I don't know what I got.
Where's my
Yeah, for
baseball cards?
Jones.
Did you buy them
what
for
do you
me?
want?
You didn't buy me any cards. I went out of my way to go buy you
Dude,
cards.
You
the other
did.
day.
That was very kind of you.
And you
That
did
was
do the
part
same
of the
for
show.
me.
That was called for the show.
You could have done it for
What
the
do you
show
want me to
today.
get you?
I don't know.
You know what I could have gotten you? I had a Dallas Mavericks #1 overall card that was
cool.
there before.
Is
the
it a Cooper
draft.
Flag card?
Yeah, it was Cooper Flag to the Mavericks.
Wow.
Could have gotten that. And
They
now
already had them sold.
I would have been rich.
Told you.
I
It's
could have bought
rigged.
it earlier.
It's rigged. They're already selling Mavericks #1 overall pick cards.
All right, join us tonight for a wrap-up show on YouTube. We're back tomorrow at 2 p.m. recapping Padres Angels Game 1 and getting you ready for Game 2. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify. Leave a review if you're listening to us on a podcast. And for Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Oh, okay.
Bye-bye.